Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Wearing books. God-level understanding. Perfect start with magical skills. Chapter 41. And the remaining 15 points. Lin Zi glanced at the book Lu Chengfeng's travel notes that Lu Hanyan was pondering. Lu Chengfeng was able to hide the mysterious technique in the first half of Huan Yu Kixing Lu, which is a local middle-grade technique. Thinking about it, the grade of the mysterious technique will definitely not be any worse. At least, it should be enough to make up the remaining 15 points of progress. If that's the case, then with the power of Earth-level skills, Lin Zi can still reach the realm of innate gods. Directly achieve innateness. The Lu family has had a great harvest on this trip. Close the book. The stars in Lin Zi's eyes became brighter and brighter, reflecting a brilliant galaxy. It's time to go back. Turning around, Lin Zi said. Let's go, we've already wasted a lot of time. Remember to bring that travel journal. Lu Hanyan took Lu Chengfeng's travel notes and followed Lin Zi out of the library. Outside the library, Lu Zhen and others were still waiting in shock and uncertainty. When he saw Lin Zi, he came out. Second young master. They immediately came forward and followed. Second young master. Is our Lu family okay? Lin Zi said, Master Lu, please feel at ease. It's not a big deal. That's good, that's good. Lu Zhen breathed a sigh of relief and said hurriedly. Thank you for your hard work, second young master. Please move to the front hall quickly. Lu has already ordered his servants to prepare a table of food and drinks. Lin Zi waved his hand and walked straight towards the gate. Still eating, isn't it better to go back and upgrade talents and innate skills than to eat here? At this moment, Lin Zi was eager to return home, and nothing could stop him. No need. My master has important matters to attend to, so I won't interrupt you. Lu Zhen tried his best to persuade him to stay. The second young master is leaving now. It's not easy for you to come here. Lu has not yet fulfilled his duties as a landlord. There will be opportunities in the future. Hearing the strong refusal in Lin Zi's mouth, Lu Zhen didn't dare to force anything. In that case, Lu will be waiting for the second young master. Second young master, please walk slowly. Under the visual sight of Lu Zhen and others, Lin Zi and his party got into the carriage. Go home. Following Lin Zi's order, the Lin family's entourage drove the carriage and drove towards the direction from which it came. Watching Lin Zi's carriage leave, until the trees in the distance disappeared. The smile on Lu Zhen's face gradually disappeared. Get serious. He turned his head and looked at the clan elder who had just told the news about Lu Chengfeng. Uncle Clan, what's going on with Lu Chengfeng? The eyes of others also focused on the elder of the Lu family. Facing everyone's gaze, the Lu family hesitated to speak. Finally, he sighed quietly. Don't even ask. Not a good thing. Lu Chengfeng, the less you know about him, the better. You guys, just pretend that there has never been such a person in the Lu family. No matter who asks, they can't explain clearly. With a low sigh, the Lu family elder turned and left. In the breeze, his whisper could be faintly heard. The disaster of genocide. The disaster of genocide. On the carriage back to the city. Lin Zi suddenly shouted. Lin, one of the accompanying guards, immediately responded, my subordinate is here. Go to Shira Villa immediately and tell them that I want detailed information about the last head of the Lu family and Lu Chengfeng. Lin understood. Do you think the Lu family is lying? Lin Zi smiled and said, I don't care whether they lie or not. Whether you lie or tell the truth. Lin Zi didn't have the time to care about other people's family affairs, nor was he interested in understanding the rise and fall of the Lu family. Lin Zi only cares about where Lu Chengfeng got the Earth-level skills. Lin seemed to understand. I understand. It's just that Shira Villa only accepts assassination missions from the outside. This is the job of spying on intelligence. It doesn't matter. When you go, just say it's the information I, Lin Zi, want, and the people at Shira Villa will naturally understand. Lin was shocked. Mr. Who means? Could it be that Lord Marquis had secretly conquered Shira Villa for his own use a long time ago? Hiss. This is too. Lin didn't dare to think about it carefully. Yes. I will go now. Lin disappeared in a flash. Return to the Lin family. Master Who is back. Master Hu. Lin Zi nodded and walked into the Lin family's inner palace. While walking, Lin Zi explained to Lu Hanyan. Shizhong powder is most likely unusable, but you can still try Yingxiao root. You are first ready to test the medicinal properties of the eucalyptus root. We'll talk about the rest after I come out. After saying that, Lin Zi took Lu Chengfeng's travel notes and returned to the room in a hurry. Lu Hanyan looked confused. At this time, she wanted to know what those bloody words were written on. It was made so mysterious and fiery. In Lin Zi's room, Lin Zi pulled out the 7 stars of the phantom moon that he had bought from a vendor on Chonghua Street from the secret compartment under the bed. The estimated completion time is 21 days. He put this book together with Lu Chengfeng's travel notes. Next moment, according to the guidance of the mysterious technique, you discovered the deepest secrets hidden in the record of the 7 stars of the fantasy moon. You interpreted the record of the 7 stars of the fantasy moon and the mysterious techniques. You discovered the earth-level mid-level skill, True Fire Holy Demon technique. Before Lin Zi's eyes, Wanyu Qixinglu and Lu Chengfeng's travel notes had undergone some strange changes. The mysterious blood words actually released wisps of crimson breath along the edges where they crossed each other, making some of the words on the Fantasy Moon's 7 stars record reflect patches of blood red. Pieces of blood red text are constructed into a brand new exercise. Buzz. Following a strange wave of blood-colored air. From the 2 ancient books, 5 big blood red characters suddenly rose up and appeared in front of Lin Zi's eyes. It is astonishingly True Fire Holy Demon technique. See these 5 big blood red characters. All Lin Zi's thoughts were understood. At this moment, he no longer needs to wait for the completion of the Wanyu 7 stars record 21 days later. There is no need to find another way to condense the flower of God. At this moment, the True Fire Holy Demon art is in front of you. The path of the innate God-man is clearly laid out here. The mysterious innate door has been opened to Lin Zi. Taking a deep breath, Lin Zi sank his mind into the True Fire Holy Demon art. You have read True Fire Holy Demon art. With your terrifying understanding that is close to Taoism, the True Fire Holy Demon art has been completely broken by you and has been deduced to the 10th level. True Fire Holy Demon art LV10, Great Perfection. This moment, the 3 flowers of energy and spirit are condensed. Shantian Yuan is born. Buzz. In the dark, a mysterious door opened to Lin Zi. Strength. Endless mysterious power spurted out from that door, constantly washing Lin Zi's body, washing him away. Thereby breaking away from the mortal body and evolving towards the mysterious and mysterious innate life. Great sound and sound. The elephant is invisible. In the Shantian sect, forget yourself, forget your form, forget your heart, and forget your nature. No self, no boundaries. Only the innate chi that surged like a sea tide was constantly washing away Lin Zi's body, making a muffled sound that coincided with the avenue. Make Lin Zi fade away from the mundane world. Create an innate body. 1 breath. 2 breaths. 1/4 of an hour. 2 quarters of an hour. Under the guidance and washing of Shantian Yuan, Lin Zi's body became crystal clear and transparent. His body is like bright jade, his veins are like glass, and his blood is like nectar. A brilliant Shantian Yuan shines brightly in Shantian's body. Innate first level, 1 Yuan realm, accomplished. Boom. The powerful innate divine power surged into the void in an instant, spreading to cover the entire Baikan dynasty with a radius of thousands of miles. At this moment, everyone in the Baikan dynasty was suddenly shocked. Somehow, they seemed to be targeted by some kind of great terror. They felt uncomfortable all over, and the hairs on their hair stood on end, making their hair stand on end. An instinctive trembling arose from the bones of the whole person and from the depths of the soul. This tremor is engraved in the soul, engraved in the rules of the mortal body. It is the oppression of life from the top of the food chain. It is the original natural law that human beings must abide by since ancient times. It is the difference in life levels. Baikan Palace. The pupils of Emperor Baikan who were sitting on the dragon throne suddenly shrank. He uttered 2 words in disbelief, Shantian. Someone in Baikan actually achieved the innate realm. Who is it? Wei family. Wei Pingyuan, who was thinking about the future direction of the Wei family, was awakened by the sudden aura of the innate god. This breath is Innate God man. Someone actually achieved it. Wiping looked at the sky in the distance. Could it be? Lin Ao was drinking genuine fragrant tea, holding Buddha beads, and was enjoying himself leisurely. Ever since his grandson Lin Zi forcefully declared his existence, Lin Ao had intentionally gradually transferred power to Lin Zi, making him responsible for managing the Lin family. Lin Ao has been enjoying his leisure these past few days. How many years has he not enjoyed such a leisurely life? Okay. Suddenly, Lin Ao's eyes changed. He stood up and put his hands behind his back, standing proudly between heaven and earth. Especially the chilling wind of the god of war on the battlefield back then. Innate. Where did Baiken get his talent? Could it be? Lin Ao didn't wait to think about it. The next moment, that huge innate divine power actually increased again. Boom. At this moment, the sky over thousands of miles around Baiken became dark and dull. Dark clouds quickly gathered and enveloped the entire Baiken dynasty. It makes the heaven and earth pale and groggy. Boom, boom, boom. When the storm surges, thunder is furious. Among the black clouds, plasma tumbling, thick silver snakes flew in the dark sky, cutting through the dark sky, casting a stunning white light that illuminated the world. Suddenly, it felt like the world was ending. And this dark cloud is still expanding and gathering. It has spread from Baiken to the Wolf capital and the Crescent dynasty, and it is still expanding without any sense of stagnation. For a time, everyone in the three kingdoms of Baiken was in danger, fearing that thunder would strike and destroy everything. Edge of the Crescent dynasty. A mysterious man wrapped in a black robe stopped heading towards the Juji dynasty. He glanced back at the spreading dark clouds. Where did this powerful person from the divine vein realm come from? Could it be that the people from Hidden Sword Mountain have noticed it? Looks like we need to speed up. After saying that, the mysterious man sighed helplessly. It's just Hidden Sword Mountain. Alas, the tiger fell flat and was bullied by the dog. When will Hidden Sword Mountain be able to? He hasn't finished a sentence yet. Another vision rises in the sky. In the dark sky, a big sun parted the clouds and mist, revealing the bright world. Bear. The sun was scorching, burning with the terrifying true sun fire. It came to the world and scorched the vast world. However, upon closer inspection, I realized that it was not really a big day. Instead, it is a red sun formed by the condensed smoke of energy, blood and wolf smoke. The energy is full of smoke, and the blood is like the sun. And in this bright day, there is still a faint and loud roar of dragons coming out. Hold head high. A huge bloody dragon flew out of the sun, flew over the head of the mysterious man in black robe, let out a harsh and loud dragon roar, and traveled through the 7 countries in the eastern region of Hidden Sword Mountain with a terrifying high temperature that could turn the world into purgatory. Seeing this, the mysterious man in black robes twitched his face and said, "I'm so angry and bloody like a dragon." The 3rd stage of True Body Realm. You're still playing with a hammer. The mysterious man secretly complained that when he came, no one told him that there were powerful people in the True Physique realm with blood like dragons in Hidden Sword Mountain. Run quickly. The mysterious man tried to escape thousands of miles away in a flash, leaving the perception range of the powerful person in the True Physique realm. But at this moment, all the visions in the sky disappeared. Dark clouds, thunder, sun, dragon. Everything disappeared into thin air and disappeared without a trace. In the sky, the wind is gentle and the sun is bright, and the clouds are rolling and relaxing. It seemed that everything just now was an illusion of the mysterious man. The mysterious man was stunned for a long time. Is this passing by? Or do you mean to scare people? After a long time, he cursed and stepped into the Juji dynasty. Maid, are you kidding me? Grass. Baiken dynasty. Lin. In Lin Zi's room. Lin Zi ended successive breakthroughs. Open your eyes. His eyes are already filled with bright and captivating light. The divine light is so dazzling that it seems to be able to penetrate the endless void and see through the ups and downs of the world. And his entire spiritual outlook has been sublimated and evolved in life, transcending the world. As clean as white jade, as bright as amber, and as powerful as golden stone. Every move reveals the insurmountable weight of life. True Body Realm. There are 6 realms of innate beings. They are Yiyuan, Divine Veins, True Body, Divine Sea, Tianyuan, and Mingshuan. And with the blessing of the LV10 True Fire Holy Demon Art, Lin Zi broke through 3 realms in a row, passed 1 yuan, restored the divine veins, and became a true body. Now, he has gone through half of the journey of being an innate being and has achieved the 3rd level of true body. And it's not an ordinary true body. The innate body is divided into 3 stages. In the first stage, the energy and blood are like smoke, in the second stage, the blood is like the sun, and in the third stage, the energy and blood are like a dragon. Lin Zi is in the 3rd stage, a super real powerhouse with energy and blood like a dragon. How strong is this stage? After exhaling a long breath, Lin Zi clenched his fists, and an endless feeling of fullness and satisfaction instantly surged throughout his body. At this time, he only needs to move his hands casually to make the entire baikan. No, small, the real body strong man with blood like a dragon is not so low. To be precise, it is the entire 7 countries in the eastern region of Hidden Sword Mountain. Lin Zi only needs to move his hands now, and the entire 7 eastern kingdoms will turn into a pile of ruins. And when it really breaks out with all its strength, Lin Zi couldn't be sure. After all, he has always been different from ordinary people with hundreds of books on martial arts. He knows, a little bit, of everything. Moreover, his core technique to break through the innate is still the unheard of 10th level of the True Fire Holy Demon technique. Is the power unmatched by ordinary real bodies? But no matter what, Lin Zi is certain. As a super-level true physique realm expert, he is in the Hidden Sword Mountain area at this moment. Already invincible. And that's not all. With this breakthrough, Lin Zi not only pushed his life realm to the limit of the 3rd innate realm, he also finally raised his God-level understanding, a talent that is crucial to his survival, to level 3. God-level understanding LV2, 185 100ths. You have read through the books and finally gained some understanding, gaining a more essential understanding of the talent of God-level understanding. You have developed new abilities with God-level understanding. God-level understanding upgraded to LV3, 85 1000ths. From now on, you can comprehend and integrate the techniques you have learned, take their strengths and discard the dross, form a new powerful technique, and obtain a level upgrade. Lin Zi's heart moved when he saw the new ability of God-level comprehension level 3. This ability is great. Since Lin Zi received his talent and started practicing, he has learned not only 1,000 but also 800 skills. It can be said that what I have learned is quite complex. Moreover, their grades are generally not high. Except for the 8 desolate tactics, which are the best human level ones, none of them have ace skills that can stand on their own. At the moment, God level comprehension level 3 is just enough to refine and integrate everything Lin Zi has learned, creating one ace after another. So, Lin Zi started refining again. Take everything you have learned and recreate it. You observe the world and feel it, and you have new ideas about the exercises you have learned. You have integrated the mental methods you have learned. The mental method is mainly based on the 8 desolate war techniques, with a total of 109 auxiliary materials. Ba Wang's tactics achieved a level breakthrough. You have comprehended the earth level low-level skill, 8 wastelands killing heart technique. You have a feeling when you look at the world. The body refining method is mainly based on the True Fire Holy Demon Art, with a total of 127 auxiliary materials. You have mastered the earth level mid-level skill, Saint Burning Demon skill. You, after some refining and rebuilding, Lin Zi's skill configuration is as follows. Mental method. Earth level low grade, 8 desolations heart killing technique. Body refining. Earth level mid-level, Saint Burning Demon technique. Movement skills. The best human level, Tianyu Jinghong. Pupil technique. The best human level, Amber Pupil. Fingering. The best human level, 7 mysterious sword fingers. Palm technique. The best human level, Wuxin Divine Palm. Boxing skills, among them, the body refining method did not achieve a level breakthrough. Lin Zi was not surprised. After all, the gap between acquired and innate is too big. Across the chasm, it is unrealistic for a mere 100 human level skills to challenge the innate mid-level, True Fire Holy Demon Art. It can absorb and fuse to gain some enhanced transformation, and becoming the Saint Burning Demon Art is already considered a face-saving thing. However, it was the mental method system that surprised Lin Zi. There are only over 100 fusion materials. It can actually transform Bawang's tactics from the best human level to the lowest level Earth level. Come to think of it, the 8 Desolations tactics passed down from the Lin family are definitely at the forefront among many top human level ones, and their own level is already very close to the innate level. As for the other methods, there is no surprise. After some fusion and blessing, they were all promoted to the best human level. And under the blessing of the refinement and transformation of this sect of skills, the aura all over Lin Zi's body became more and more unfathomable, as deep as the abyss. It is also increasingly full of top pressure from the upper beings. His whole body is like a humanoid dragon shrouded in fog. Once the fog is lifted, his immortal and invincible true body will be released, causing catastrophe. Now Lin Zi seems to have reached some kind of unknowable realm, and it is difficult to describe it with just strong words. Just a random breath poured out, and the lake that seemed calm to this world suddenly fell into an extraterrestrial meteorite, rolling up waves of destruction. Or an accidental glance can be enough to form a divine pillar that reaches the sky and penetrates the void. It is like breaking a mirror casually, and no living thing on the mirror is spared. What is an innate god? This is the innate divine man. Call. Lin Zi expressed his feelings and was very high-spirited. Standing up, the light in his eyes has never been so bright as now. The innate true body has been completed. Now that the world is so big, where can't it be reached? Looking out the window at the scenery, the forest has been standing for a long time. For a long time. Only then did he focus again on the book of Fantasy Moon and 7 Stars. Although the bloody words left by Liu Chengfeng interpreted the incompleteness to bring a new innate middle-grade skill, it does not mean that the old one cannot be used. With God-level understanding, he should continue to do it for free. 21 days later, another copy of Shantian middle-grade Kung Fu was recorded. A full 100 points of progress. With a few more books, Lin Zi's LV3 will be directly upgraded to LV4. This day is comfortable. After putting away the record of the 7 stars of the Fantasy Moon, Lin Zi stepped out of the room. At this time, the flowers are fragrant, the grass is green, and the wind is clear. But everyone in the Lin family is not so comfortable. They had just been shocked by Lin Zi's movement when he broke through, and now they were suspicious. Seeing Lin Zi coming out, they quickly came together to protect Lin Zi in the middle. Master Hu. Dangerous. Lin Zi was speechless. It was his fault. He really didn't expect that the news of breaking through the innate would be so outrageous before. So he reassured everyone, "It's okay, it's all over." He glanced around. "Where's the lady?" "The lady is brewing eucalyptus root at the pharmacy." "Oh, I see." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Zi's figure disappeared without a trace. When he appeared again, he appeared silently in the pharmacy. At this time, Lu Hanyan had recovered from the shock and threw the GU worm that Lin Zi had taken out of Xiaoqui's body into the Yingxiao soup to record the reaction state of the GU worm. There's no need to study the roots of eucalyptus. Lu Hanyan's body trembled slightly. She was still frightened by Lin Zi's innate power before. She looked up and breathed a sigh of relief when she saw it was Lin Zi. "Why didn't you make any sound when you came?" After saying that, Lu Hanyan asked again, "What do you mean you don't need to study the roots of Yingxiao?" Lin Zi said, "The effect of soaking the roots in water is too slow. We don't know when Langdu will react to activate the poison. We must race against time, at least the Lin family must hurry up." After saying that, Lin Zi asked, "How many Shizhong are there in the pharmacy?" "Ishizhong." Lu Hanyan frowned. "Didn't Ancestor Chengfeng leave a message saying that it can't be used?" "This is what you want to know about the messages written in blood." As he spoke, Lin Zi made a knife with 2 fingers and gently opened his palm. A large amount of bright red blood suddenly condensed in the void. Lu Hanyan was frightened. She quickly ran over, trying to stop Lin Zi's bleeding. "What are you doing?" Lin Zi said, "If you want to use medicine like Shizhong to cure the poisonous insects, you must use blood as the medicine. The blood of those who practice the true fire holy demon art." After practicing the true fire holy demon art, Lin Zi also interpreted the message left by Liu Chengfeng. Do not use Shizhong does not mean that Shizhong cannot be used. Instead, it must be paired with the true blood condensed by the true fire holy demon art, otherwise Shizhong will immediately stimulate the poisonous insects when he eats it. At least, the victim will immediately fall into the pain of the poisonous insect outbreak, and at worst, he will be killed on the spot. Similarly, Yingxiao root is not the true solution to the poisonous poison. It can only temporarily suppress the toxicity of the poisonous poison and weaken its power, but it cannot completely kill the poisonous poison. Therefore, whether it is Shizhong or Yingqiaojin, it is just confusing news left by Lu Changfeng to some people. The real way to remove the poison from beginning to end is the true fire holy demon art. Only practitioners who have practiced the true fire holy demon art and reached the 3rd level, and who can condense the true blood of the holy demon, can use the blood as a guide to resolve this life-threatening poison. As for why the true fire holy demon art can remove poison, Lindsay didn't know. Most likely it's because this true fire holy demon art comes from the holy religion, and the blood poison old demon happens to be a member of the holy religion, right? In short, as long as it can detoxify. Lindsay was not interested in stories related to the holy religion or the Lu family. After draining about a bowl of blood, Lindsay stopped the wound. In a moment, the wound healed quickly and disappeared. He dropped the blood condensed in the void into a large bowl. It should be enough to cure the poison for the entire Lin family. With Lindsay's saint-burning demon art, level 10, a drop of his blood is far more precious than that of a young monk on the 3rd level. With his level of skills, just one drop of blood is enough to save thousands of people. However, to be on the safe side, Lindsay still put in a little more. After all, the Lin family is all their own, so you can rest assured if you use them more. After filling the bowl of blood, Lu Hanyan turned around to find the blood-enhancing elixir. She scolded, "Really, you should have said it earlier if you wanted to use blood. It's so urgent, why put so much away? You are not the only one in the Lin family." Lindsay waved his hand, "No need to look for it. With my level, this little blood can't cause me any harm. Let's use medicine to cure the poison for my family first." Lindsay has become an innate true body, with energy and blood like a dragon. The blood and energy in the body are like mercury slurry, flowing like a spring, endlessly. Not to mention this bowl of blood, even if the river of blood flooded the entire Baikan dynasty, it would not cause any substantial harm to Lindsay. That's a bit outrageous to say. But this is the great innate God-man. Nature and nurture are not at the same level of life at all. Hearing what Lindsay said, Lu Hanyan had no choice but to look for the remaining Shizhong in the pharmacy. She opened the medicine cabinet containing Shizhong and took a look. There are about 3 liang more, is that enough? Shizhong is not a commonly used medicine, its uses are scarce, and there are not many stocks in the Lin family pharmacy. 3 liang. It's enough for the core members of the Lin family. Lu Hanyan took out the gray Shizhong dumpling and shook it with great force, shattering the Shizhong dumpling into fine powder. Then the Shizhong powder and Lindsay's blood were mixed together. While mediating, Lu Hanyan gave instructions to Xiaoqui. "Xiaoqui, ask Lin Wei and the others to go to the major pharmacies in the capital to purchase some more Shizhong. Except for our Lin family, no one else knows the role of Shizhong now. It should be easy to buy." "Yes, miss." Xiaoqui quickly left the pharmacy and closed the door of the pharmacy, considerately, when she left. "You guys, accompany me outside to buy some Shizhong and come back." She also transferred the Lin guards who were guarding outside the pharmacy. Quote. The two looked at each other speechlessly. "This Xiaoqui, if you transfer everyone away, who will test the medicine?" "Lin Wu, come to see me." Lindsay called Lin Wu via a voice message from the air. The next moment, pieces of feathers fell into the void. Lin Wu's figure emerged with the illusory light and shadow. "Master Hu." Lindsay pointed to Lin Wu and pointed to the antidote prepared in Lu Hanyan's hand. "You go try the medicine." Lin Wu did not hesitate at all to Lindsay's request for a drug test. "Yes, Lord Marquis." He picked up a small cup of blood medicine mixed with water that Lu Hanyan had given out and drank it in one gulp. He then used his energy and breath to speed up the absorption of the medicine. Within a few breaths, Lin Wu finished adjusting his breath. Lindsay and Lu Hanyan's eyes immediately fell on Lin Wu. "How does it feel?" Lin Wu felt it carefully and said uncertainly, "It seems, no feeling." "Let me see." Lin Wu walked up to Lindsay. Lindsay's eyes instantly turned amber. After achieving the innate true body, Lindsay can directly lock the existence of GU worms with his pupil power without having to go through the demon heart restriction. In Lindsay's amber pupil, the GU worms in Lin Wu's body were melting and disintegrating, gradually melting and turning into a pool of blood. Apparently, the medicine worked. It's okay, this medicine can be used. Lin Zi finished speaking. Lin Wu was stunned for the first time. No, is this good? Mr. Hu, you haven't touched it yet. He heard Lin Zi explain again. Lin Wu, go gather everyone in the Lin family and ask them to take medicine. After that, Lin Zi said to Lu Hanyan again. Besides, Xiaoqui has already gone to buy medicine. If Shizhong doesn't have enough, he can add more. But the blood can only be mine. At this point, Lu Hanyan already understood that there must be other secrets in those small bloody words, and it was not as simple as using blood to undo the poison. But Lu Hanyan did not ask further questions. Although Lu Hanyan didn't like the family that sold her as a commodity, she had to admit that the Lu family's education to her was right. A smart girl shouldn't ask a man what he doesn't want to say. Because when he wants to say it, he will naturally say it. So Lu Hanyan just remembered Lin Zi's words, I understand. Well, I'm going to see Grandpa and the others. By the time he finished speaking, Lin Zi had disappeared into the pharmacy and reached the main palace where Lin Ao was. Similarly, Lin Zi's arrival was silent and did not cause Lin Ao and Lin Mo to notice. Grandfather. Lin Ao was shocked. He turned his head and raised his eyebrows, and began to look at Lin Zi. You kid, when did you come? I didn't even notice it at all. Lin Mo was also shocked. If Lin Zi hadn't spoken, he wouldn't have known he was coming. The young master's cultivation level is becoming more and more advanced, and I haven't noticed it yet. Lin Zi smiled mysteriously, then you two will take a look now. After saying that, Lin Zi quietly released a powerful pressure of innate life. Wow, in the Lin mansion, there is wind on the ground. The violent air waves instantly washed away the earth. Hoo. The wind roared in the ears of Lin Ao and the two of them. The world trembles in the hearts of Lin Ao and the two. Boom, thunder is also roaring in the sky. Lin Mo couldn't believe it, and his eyes almost fell out of his shock. Lin Ao's pupils suddenly shrank and he blurted out, it's your uncles. It's you. Lin Zi withdrew the pressure and nodded, it's just me. You. This. Lin Ao and Lin Mo were speechless. They were as frightened as if they had seen a ghost. They couldn't say a word for a long time. Old Mo, are you awake? Lin Mo was silent for a moment, how about you slap me? It's a bit outrageous. Outrageous. Very outrageous. Lin Zimin is only 18 years old. At the age of 18, being able to achieve the acquired peak is already an arrogance among the others, enough to be recorded in the history of Baikan. And now he is so outrageous that he has become an innate god. An 18-year-old innate god. I'm a good boy, is it that I, Lin Ao, have lost my horizons, or has the world mutated? At the age of 18, you have actually become an innate god. How can you make those geniuses, who are hundreds of years old and still stuck at the peak of their acquired abilities, feel so embarrassed? A lot of years have been spent on dogs, right? In response to this, even with Lin Ao and Lin Mo's temperament cultivated by being in high positions for many years, it is inevitable that turbulent waves will arise in their hearts. They began to look around Lin Zi. You kid. Tisk. I clicked my tongue for a long time, but no words came out. At this moment, the mood of the two of them is difficult to describe in words. Talk about a surprise. There must be some joy. After all, our family has produced an innate god man who is extraordinary and holy, enough to honor our family and honor our ancestors. But compared to this joy, it was more surprise. It's so shocking that it's even a bit dreamy and unrealistic. Lin Zi could probably understand the mood of the two of them. After all, innate gods are so rare and transcendent in this world. If a family can produce an innate god man, it means that one person will achieve enlightenment and ascend to heaven. From then on, he will proudly live in the world and be passed down for thousands of years. He comforted the two of them, you two, it's better not to turn around. Sit down and rest for a while. Have a rest. Tell me, what's going on with you? Lin Zi explained, my state is not far from the innate state, and with the occasional enlightenment during this trip, this innate state is a matter of course. When the time comes, it will fall into place. This innate state can be achieved naturally. I've been practicing for so many years, why can't I get it right? Lin Ao didn't know what to say for a moment. Maybe, this is the difference between a wizard and a peerless genius. Lin Mo also twitched the corners of his mouth crazily. You think it's great to have talent. I want to be talented and play like this. Young master, you are extremely talented. After Lin Mo sighed. Ha 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 ha. Lin Ao finally calmed down the fear in his heart, coiled the beads again, and laughed with joy. Ha 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 ha. Smiling, Lin Ao shed a few tears of joy from the corners of his eyes. Okay. With son like this, God has treated me Lin Ao well. Ha 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 ha. Before Lin Zi's rise, Lin Ao lamented day and night. I'm afraid that because I have committed too many crimes in my life, the thief god will repay the consequences of my karma on the descendants of the Lin family, so that I will end up alone without any children, grandchildren or companions. So after the two heroes of the Lin family were defeated on the battlefield and Lin Jie accidentally died in the war, Lin Ao, who had never believed in gods and Buddhas in his life, finally put down his weapons and picked up Buddhist beads. Even if he thinks that everything he has done in his life is righteous, even if he is to protect his family and country, he will kill those who deserve to be killed. But as long as Lin Zi, the only grandson in the end, can live out his life safely. For this thought, Lin Ao admitted it. But he never expected that God would play such a big joke on him. Lin Zi, the last only grandson, turned out to be the most hidden true dragon in the Lin family. Good fortune, master. Lin Mo also had tears in his eyes. Only he, the old butler, knows best the suffering and resentment that the Lin family and Lin Ao have suffered over the years. But fortunately everything is over. It's finally over. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations, young master. Quote. Inside the mansion of the head of the Lin family, everything was peaceful. For a long time, Lin Ao Sai said, it's the same with you kid. You didn't inform grandpa in advance about such a big matter. I thought just now that Peng Yang came back to seek revenge on us. Lin Zi smiled and said, so why don't I tell you the good news immediately? As for Peng Yang, it's not important anymore, what's important is. Lin Zi casually took a picture of a blue brick on the ground. Then, he carved a lot of small characters on the green bricks in one thought. The book on it is, the best human level, the sky feather startles the giant. After burning Tianyu Jinghong, Lin Zi took off another brick and burned another top-notch human level, 7 mysterious sword fingers. He handed 2 top-level human level martial arts skills, 1 body technique and 1 fingering technique, to Lin Ao. Grandpa, these 2 books are the best human level exercises created by my grandson's insights when he achieved innateness. He improved and made breakthroughs based on the 2 top-level human level exercises of my Lin family. You put it away. From now on, these 2 techniques and the 8 desolate war techniques will be the compulsory techniques for our Lin family army. With these 3 top-notch human level skills, I believe our Lin family's strength will surely improve by leaps and bounds, and we will be invincible, and we will have many more capable generals. Lin Ao took over 2 blue bricks engraved with the best human level skills. With just a quick glance, Lin Ao was able to confirm that the mystery and power of these 2 techniques were not at all inferior to the 8 desolations tactics passed down from the Lin family. It is truly a top-notch human-level skill. So, Lin Ao immediately had something to say. This is the best human-level product. Rare in the world. Zer, this technique. Lin Zi gave Lin Ao a look, signaling that Lin Ao would feel at ease. After that, Lin Zi took off the ancient mud and fat jade from his waist. In one thought, the will imprint of the earth-level low-level skill, 8 wastelands killing hard art, was entered into it. As for the burning saint demon technique, the origin of this technique is still unknown, and what kind of holy religion is involved behind it. Lin Zi himself was not afraid, but Lin Ao was just a common man who was not guilty of harboring a jade. So before figuring out the foundation of the burning saint demon art, Lin Zi didn't want Lin Ao to get involved in these neurotic things. He handed over the ancient jade engraved with the 8 desolations heart-killing technique. And this book is an earth-level low-grade technique based on the 8 desolations tactics inherited from my Lin family, which is an improvement and breakthrough, the 8 desolations heart-killing technique. You have to keep this skill yourself. The purpose of keeping this is to let Lin Ao practice it himself and not to pass it on to the Lin family army. This is not to say that Lin Zi does not trust Lin Jiazhen enough. On the contrary, it was precisely because of his trust in Lin Jiazhen that Lin Zi taught them the best human-level skills. Not teaching them the low-level earth-level skills would be a sign of respect for yourself. This is similar to the reason why only direct descendants of the Lin family could practice the Bawang war technique. He took the ancient mud and fat jade from Lin Zi. Lin Ao was stunned for a moment and then smiled happily. But he was confused. His grandson is more understanding than he thought. Grandpa knows, don't worry. After that, Lin Ao asked another question. By the way, during your trip to the Liu family, did you find a way to cure the poison? Compared with the future, the Lin family has a bright future with 3 top-level human-level skills and 1 low-level earth-level skills. This poison is more important right now. Unless the poison is resolved, the Lin family army will always be in a whirlpool of risks, and the poison may be released at some point. It's still too early to talk about the future. Lin Zi added, of course, I have asked Xiaokui to buy medicine stones and asked Lin Wu to gather all the Lin family members to take medicine to cure the poison. This medicine works very quickly. Just drink it and use it to absorb the power. The poisonous insects will be dissolved in a moment, leaving you safe and sound. The worry in Lin Ao's heart came to an end. That's good, that's good. After saying that, Lin Ao asked again, but what do you think about Baikan? Baikan. Lin Zi looked at the sky in the distance. There's no rush, let's dry them out first. There are always people who can't sit still and show their flaws. In the past few days, our Lin family has closed its doors and thanked guests on the pretext of preventing infection by poisonous insects, and secretly kept an eye on the major checkpoints in the imperial capital. Lin Ao nodded. Old Mo, you heard me. Clear. After Lin Mo responded, a cold light flashed in his eyes, and he immediately disappeared. The following few days, Baikan seemed to have been given a catalyst and completely fell into madness. In this difficult situation where the poison cannot be cured and the antidote is hard to find, I don't know who took the lead and came up with a bad idea. The whole city is bewitched. That is, no matter whether they are poisoned or not, everyone will sprinkle poisonous powder again to ensure that everyone is poisoned. Anyway, without an antidote, most of them will die in the end. In this case, why not have a complete madness? Bewitched. All are bewitched. No matter whether he is a person from Baikan or a traitor in Wolf City, don't let him go. Before the final moment came, Baikan's top management urged the Demon Heart band together. If I don't live, everyone should stop living. The whole Baikan is going to die together. If you want to live, then everyone should take action and supervise everyone around them until they find the traitor in Langdu and ask him to get out and hand over the antidote. As a result, there was a massive panic in the Baikan imperial capital. Everyone was living in the crisis of death, and they spontaneously monitored everyone around them, trying to find the Langdu traitor lurking in the Baikan imperial capital. This caused a large commotion and made the entire imperial capital a mess. But I have to say that this method is indeed effective. On the night when the poison was spread throughout the city, some people couldn't hold themselves back. Hiding behind the scenes, they repeatedly mobilized Baikan people to break through the city and break through the siege. However, under the tough attitude of the Baikan army, who believed that breaking through the barrier would be treason and would directly kill them without mercy, the Baikan people's repeated attempts to break through the barrier were suppressed forcefully, leaving those behind the scenes unable to find other ways. They lied about transporting grain, about visiting relatives, about controlling floods in the south, etc. They tried all possible methods. Based on their traces, the Baikan army also followed the clues and caught many Langdu traitors lurking in Baikan, but unfortunately they were all marginalized little mice. The real big rat was still hiding behind them, grinning, secretly looking for opportunities. This situation has remained deadlocked. 1 day. 2 days. On the 3rd day, the situation is about to get heated and enter the final decisive game. But at this time, a guest that no one expected came to Baikan dynasty, instantly breaking the stalemate that Baikan had been in for many days. The new Moon dynasty is here. What did you say? An envoy from the Crescent Moon dynasty came. Emperor Baikan frowned. The Baikan dynasty and the Crescent Moon dynasty had nothing to do with each other. You take your Yangguan road, and I cross my single plank bridge. The water in the well does not interfere with the water in the river. There is no hatred or friendship. At this critical moment, why did the Crescent Dynasty send people here? The guard who came to report confirmed, the person who came is the young Marquis of the Crescent Dynasty. He said that he has something important to report that is related to the country and threatens the survival of both Crescent and Baiken. Endanger Baiken's survival. Isn't this chaos enough right now? Emperor Baiken felt slightly cold in his heart. Zan. Yes, Your Majesty has a decree to announce that the Crescent Moon Dynasty has an audience with Marquis Ziyang. After a few breaths, a purple flame floated into the Emperor's palace. A middle-aged Confucian scholar in purple clothes emerged from the flames. He bowed slightly. Crescent Moon Ziyang, pay homage to Emperor Baiken. No need to be polite, Marquis Ziyang. Emperor Baiken sits on the dragon throne. Even in difficult situations, he still displays the majesty of the founding monarch of Baiken. I heard that you have something serious to report that will endanger the survival of our two countries, Baiken and Xinyue. Ziyang, who had no ink marks and went straight to the point. He said words that shocked everyone. The war is coming. The Juji dynasty is ambitious and wants to annex the 7 countries in the eastern region of Hidden Sword Mountain. Emperor Baiken narrowed his eyes. Are you trying to scare me? When did the Juji dynasty become so powerful that it could conquer the 7 kingdoms? Could it be that you, Xinyue, couldn't bear the intrusion of the Juji dynasty and deliberately exaggerated to try to drag me, Baiken, into trouble? Ziyang, who shook his head. I am not exaggerating, but the Juji dynasty has already started taking action. Just yesterday, we at Xinyue received a secret report that the 3 kingdoms of Dongyu, Dao, and Lingshan surrounding the Juji dynasty have been defeated and conquered one by the Juji dynasty. Right now, we are the only ones left in the eastern region of Hidden Sword Mountain, Xinyue and Baiken. And when I set out, the army of the Juji dynasty had already arrived at our first border fortress in New Moon. According to their speed, they may have already entered the second border fortress by now. Emperor Baiken, if you don't join forces with us, Xinyue, to fight against the enemy, I'm afraid. Hearing this, Emperor Baiken's eyes suddenly condensed. Juji actually has the strength to defeat Wudongyu and the Lingshan 3 kingdoms. How can this be? The strength of the 7 countries in the eastern region has always been relatively stable. Although some are strong and some are weak, they are all within the scope of mutual checks and balances, thus stabilizing the structure of the 7 countries. Otherwise, the 7 kingdoms would have been unified long ago. Now the Juji dynasty is quietly destroying the 3 kingdoms and wants to unify the eastern territory. This is really, absolutely true. If Emperor Baiken doesn't believe it, you can send your fastest master to confirm it, so that you can know whether it is true or false. Wrong, Emperor Baiken suddenly said. You said we, Baiken, and you, Xinyue, are the only ones left. What about Wolf City? Speaking of Wolf City, Ziyang, whose expression turned bitter for a moment, even with a hint of horror, the Langdu Palace is the closest to our New Moon. I have been to Langdu as soon as I got the news. But, there's not even a wolf left. I don't dare to talk about the whole country, but at least there is no one in the area where I am galloping along the wolf capital. Not even a body can be seen. Silently, it's like their entire country suddenly disappeared. Despair. What did you say? Emperor Baiken stood up suddenly, his eyes filled with disbelief. All the wolves have disappeared from the world. How can this be? He didn't receive any information from Langdu at all. As the sworn enemy of the Wolf City, he has been keeping an eye on the changes in the Wolf City and planted many traitors in the Wolf City. Even though the poisoning incident in the past few days has disturbed their peace in Baiken, Emperor Baiken has never let go of his surveillance of Langdu. Once there is any disturbance in Wolf City, he will receive the news immediately. What's more, it's such a big event that a whole country is migrating and disappearing. And putting this aside, how could it be possible for a country the size of Langdu to disappear so silently? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Marquis Ziyang sighed. I understand your current mood, Emperor Baiken. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes along the way, I wouldn't have believed it. But it's absolutely true. You can tell the truth of this kind of thing as soon as you find out, so why do I need to lie? Upon hearing the words of Marquis Ziyang, Emperor Baiken frowned. He was pacing in front of the long case, incredulous. No reason. It doesn't make sense. How could this be? Shadow Guard. The Shadow Guards are a special guard secretly trained by Emperor Baiken to serve himself alone. They control the core undercurrent of Baiken. Their existence has never been revealed to outsiders. But the current situation is urgent, and Emperor Baiken doesn't want to think about it so much. If the wolves really disappeared without a trace, and the threat from the Juji dynasty was imminent, then things would be really serious. Soon after, Emperor Baiken called the Shadow Guard. In the darkness, a shadow appeared behind the screen in Emperor Baiken's study. His Majesty. A special, hoarse voice came. Is there any news from the wolf capital today? Never. Quote. Emperor Baiken's heart sank. Back off. Yes. After the Shadow Guard retreated, Xionghu said again, Emperor Baiken, we don't have much time left. In a war between two countries, high-end combat power has a great impact on the battle situation. As one of the top combat forces of Xinyue, Xionghu was urgently transferred in order to quickly seek help. He could not stay in Baiken for long. If Baiken refused to make a decision, Xionghu would have no choice but to give up Baiken's support and rush back to his own country to support the battlefield. He persuaded again, if you and I join forces, we may not be able to fight. But if they are defeated one, by then it will be too late. I hope you'll think about it carefully. Quote. Emperor Baiken frowned and pondered for a long time. Only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you be victorious in every battle. Even if I want to send troops, I should understand the basic situation of my opponent, right? I want to know how virtuous the Juji dynasty is. How can it defeat the three kingdoms in a row? Xionghu directly gave a two-word answer. But this answer made Emperor Baiken's heart instantly freeze. Poison! ! Emperor Baiken's pupils were shaking. Poison! The Juji dynasty defeated the three kingdoms in a row, and it relied on poison to conquer the eastern region. Then I thought that the wolves that had bewitched Baiken disappeared all over the country at this critical moment when the Juji dynasty was attacking the six kingdoms. Could it be? Emperor Baiken felt uneasy. Just listen to Xionghu continue to say, according to the secret report we received in Xinyue, the Juji dynasty seems to have used a special kind of poisonous insect that is rare in the world to invade the three kingdoms of Wu, making them exhausted and defeated. This is how we captured the capital of the three kingdoms in one fell swoop and marched towards our new moon. As Marquis Ziyang said this, he noticed that Emperor Baiken's face became increasingly ugly. His face was so dark and gloomy. Emperor Baiken, what are you doing? Quote. Emperor Baiken glanced at Xionghu. If the Juji dynasty really relies on poison to defeat the three kingdoms, then I, Baiken, may not be able to support Xinyue. Before Marquis Ziyang could ask, Emperor Baiken said. Because we, Baiken, are also in the midst of the poisonous chaos. As soon as these words came out, Xionghu was stunned. Quote. There is still me, Xinyue, between you Baiken and Juji. I, Xinyue, haven't been hit yet. How could you, Baiken? The one who bewitched me Baiken was not Juji, but the Langdu who suddenly disappeared mysteriously at this critical moment. They still use the poison that flows out of the immortal sect. Immortal gate poison. Quote. Xionghu was silent for a long time, and then he said bitterly, I seem to understand. I remember just a few days ago, a terrifying innate god man suddenly appeared in our 7 eastern kingdoms. I'm afraid this matter has nothing to do with him. After the words fell, Xionghu was speechless. Emperor Baiken was also silent for a long time. There are various signs at the moment that behind all these things there is a power beyond the world that they cannot understand that is interfering with the business. For a long time, Xionghu Kai said suddenly. Report it to Hidden Sword Mountain. As a fairy gate that dominates this area, Hidden Sword Mountain has always been aloof from the world and never interfered with the secular world. Of course, they don't care about worldly battles either. In the human dynasty, no matter who wins or loses, the people on the left and right just pay tribute to them. It has been like this for many years. But when other innate gods intervene, Hidden Sword Mountain will take care of it. Because this is provoking the majesty of Hidden Sword Mountain and touching the tiger's beard of Hidden Sword Mountain. At this time, reporting to Hidden Sword Mountain is indeed the only solution. But Emperor Baiken shook his head, it's too late. By the time we get to Hidden Sword Mountain, the 7 kingdoms will be over. Besides, Juji is coming from the west. Whether we can pass through their blockade is a matter of course. Then do we have to sit back and wait for death? Emperor Baiken was silent for a moment. Quote. Go to the Lin family, this is the only hope. Lin family. I have heard of Linao from your Baiken Lin family, but at this time. I'm not talking about Linao, but my grandson, Lin Zi. Your grandson. Ziyang, who looked like you were kidding me. Linao can't stand this scene, but your grandson can. Even if I step on the horse and throw it to you boldly, your grandson will only be 50 years old at most. What can a 50-year-old young man do? Emperor Baiken glanced at him. Then he glanced in the direction of the Lin family with a complicated expression. When you meet him, you'll understand. After saying that, Emperor Baiken stood up and disappeared into the palace in one step. Ziyang, who hurriedly followed him with questions on his face. There are endless mountains that are shrouded in mist of fairy clouds all year round. A solitary and strange peak stands in the sky like a divine sword that stands tall on the sky and the earth, overlooking the ebb and flow of the human world. On the top of Kaifeng Mountain, a magnificent palace is located in the sky. 3 words in the letter. Hidden Sword Palace. Every word reveals fierceness and invincible will. Every stroke condenses an eternal and vast sword intention. At a glance, it seemed as if there were countless sharp swords coming towards him, and thousands of swords piercing his heart. It makes people feel cold all over. At this time, in this magnificent and powerful sword-hiding palace, a swordsman in green hides his sword in his body, uses his body to nourish the sword, and uses the sword to nourish his spirit. The swordsman in green looks very young. But it's just his appearance. In terms of real age, he is already over 78,000 years old this year. I have spent countless years and seen many ups and downs in the world. But he's already used to it. Because no matter the vicissitudes of life, he lives by the sword, always by his side. For more than 70,000 years in the past and hundreds of thousands of years in the future, one sword is enough to end the world. Buzz. Zheng. Suddenly, the sword that had been with him for tens of thousands of years made a slight sword cry. His sword trembled. The swordsman in green suddenly opened a pair of sharp sword eyes that nurtured the world of swords. The infinite sword energy suddenly spurted out, roaring into the sky from the Hidden Sword Palace, forming a sky-reaching sword pillar, sweeping across the blue sky. Click, click, click. The swordsman in green wakes up and the ripples of his sword sweep across the world. With the Hidden Sword Palace as the center, the mountains and rivers covering tens of thousands of miles away were trembling and screaming. Some unstable mountain ranges were even destroyed by the ripples of sword energy, and were cut apart with huge sword marks. However, seeing this huge change, everyone in Zhangjian Mountain was not angry but happy. It's the Mountain Master who has woken up. Can we finally see the Mountain Master again? I remember that the last time I had the honor to pay homage to the Mountain Lord's sword was 3,000 years ago when I first joined the sect. Now that I think about it, tisk, it has already been 3,000 years in the blink of an eye. I don't know if the Mountain Master has made great progress in his cultivation this time after waking up, breaking through to the second stage of the true body realm, and his blood is like the sun. If the Mountain Lord breaks through, with the Mountain Lord's fighting power, how can I, Hidden Sword Mountain, be afraid that he will escape? Let's go meet the Mountain Master. Quote. Everyone in the Hidden Sword Mountain gathered under the Tongtian Sword Peak, waiting quietly for the Mountain Master from the Hidden Sword Palace to come out of seclusion to listen to the Mountain Master's teachings. At this time, the cold sword-like voice of the Qingyi Mountain Master finally came from the Sword Peak. Zhang Feng, come see me. In the Hidden Sword Mountain, a huge human-shaped sword light cut through the sky, fell from the sky, and fell into the Hidden Sword Palace. Hidden sword in the palace. The humanoid sword light transformed into a middle-aged man. He bowed before the young swordsman in green. Brother. The swordsman in green said, my sword is shaking. Hearing this, the expression of the middle-aged man named Zhang Feng changed. His brother, the master of Zhangjian Mountain, Zhangjian, was born with a sword body and a clear heart. He has the keenest perception and insight into the invisible crises in the vast world. Whenever his sword trembles, it means that there will be a crisis in Zhangjian Mountain that will make even his brother Zhangjian feel troublesome. Zhangjian, the swordsman in green, asked calmly, has anything major happened in the Zhangjian mountain area in the past few days? Zhang Feng said, if it's a big deal, just a few days ago, we brought a strong man in the dragon realm to our hidden sword mountain area. Qi and blood are like a dragon. Hearing these 4 words, Zhang Jian's eyes flashed. He then heard Zhang Feng say, but that person seems to be just passing by. Because after that day, I never felt his breath again. It should have left our hidden sword mountain. Zhang Jian asked again. Besides, Zhang Feng thought about it carefully, then it really doesn't exist. What about the human world? As an innate divine being, who has nothing to do to take care of the human world. They are just a group of ants, how much trouble can they cause? Zhang Feng said frankly, then I don't know. Zhang Jian glanced at Zhang Feng and said, go to the human world yourself. Zhang Feng grimaced, brother, it's not like that. You do not understand. This trembling feeling. Zhang Jian squinted his eyes, a trace of deep heart palpitations flashed in his sword-filled eyes. It's very similar to the old blood poisonous demon from the fire worship demon sect. Bloody old demon. Hearing this name, Zhang Feng's body trembled subconsciously. The old blood poisoned devil was the shadow that once disturbed their peace. Brother actually said that the trembling this time was very similar to that of the old blood poisonous demon. Could it be that the old blood venomous demon is back? The old blood poisonous devil is back, doesn't that mean that the behemoth of the fire worship demon cult is also? Zhang Feng's teeth tightened, and he immediately said, brother, don't worry, I will go to the human world myself to see it. If I find any trace of the demon cult and the old demon, I will immediately rush back to report it. Go ahead and be careful. Good. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Feng turned into a humanoid sword and rushed toward Miao Miao's world. Baikan Dynasty. Lin, Emperor Baikan and Marquis Ziyang visited. Grandpa came in person without informing him in advance. Lin Zi greeted him at a distance. Emperor Baikan smiled and said, this visit is for some important private matters that are not inconvenient for outsiders to know. After saying that, Emperor Baikan looked at Lin Ao again, with a hint of nostalgia in his eyes. Brother Lin, we haven't seen each other for a while. Your Majesty is busy with official duties, so I will naturally understand. Emperor Baikan waved his hand quickly. Hey, brother, what are you doing? You and I are only brothers, not kings and ministers. In these years in the palace, I have always thought about you, brother. Sometimes I often think of the days when we resisted the tyranny of Wuan together and fought side by side. If I hadn't been busy with official duties, I would have come to see my brother long ago. You could just get drunk and reminisce about old times. Cough. Emperor Baikan was reminiscing about old times, and Marquis Ziyang coughed, indicating that it was time for Emperor Baikan to get down to business. He doesn't have time to spend time with Emperor Baikan talking nonsense here. Forgot to introduce. This is Marquis Ziyang of the New Moon Dynasty. He brought some very important information. My younger brother came here just to discuss this matter. Lin Zi's grandfather and grandson looked at Ziyang Hu immediately recounted what he had just said in Baikan Palace. After listening to what Marquis Ziyang said, Lin Zi's grandfather and grandson looked at each other. Everyone in Langdu disappeared mysteriously. The Juji dynasty suddenly broke out and wanted to unify the 7 countries in the eastern region. At this time, I heard Ziyang Hu say again, I believe you two have also sensed the terrifying innate God-man from the past few days. We now suspect that the changes in the 7 kingdoms are related to the innate God-man. Lin Ao, Lin Zi, when people sit at home, pots come from heaven. Marquis Ziyang continued, so now we plan to ask Zhangjian Mountain to intervene in the 7 kingdoms. After saying that, Ziyang Hu turned his attention to Emperor Baikan. It's your turn. Emperor Baikan understood and took over the conversation, but now the Juji army is on the west side. If we want Zhangjian Mountain to intervene, we must be sure to pass through their blockade, and we must also let Zhangjian Mountain pass before the war is over. The messenger has arrived. Those who can do this. Zer, Grandpa, after much thought, I'm afraid you are the only one who can do this in Baikan. Emperor Baikan explained again, as early as the Golden Autumn Banquet, Grandpa saw that you possess special skills, and your strength is definitely not the ordinary acquired peak. Later, you defeated Zhang Tong, who is the pinnacle of acquired skills, with one strike, which further confirmed Grandpa's guess. If my guess is correct, you are probably only half a step away from the innate realm. Emperor Baikon's words contained a sigh of relief. He added, so in this current predicament, the whole of Baikon is only. Hearing this, Marquis Ziyang looked at the young Linzi, and suddenly his head was buzzing. Wait a minute, what did you say? Is this your grandson? Half step innate. Emperor Baikon glanced at him, ignored him, and continued. I know this matter will be very dangerous, but now that Baikon has reached this point, there is only one way we can go. After saying that, Baikon Dijing waited for Linzi and Linzi's response. However, Linzi and Linao had calm expressions on their faces. They had no sense of the impending doom of the country or the end of the road. Especially Linzi. He even chuckled calmly. Emperor Baikon was puzzled. Just when he was about to ask a question, Linzi spoke. He said, there's no need to go to such trouble. With Linzi's current strength, if he moves his hands casually, the 7 countries in the eastern region will turn into a pile of ruins. The 9 Extremes dynasty's army is just a matter of puffing. But, ... What does this mean? It means, Linzi looked at Emperor Baikon. In his starry eyes, amber luster was looming. Buzz. The sun and the moon have no light, and the sky and the earth are pale. Rays of gray light envelop the world, causing the entire world to lose its color. In midair, a gray fallen leaf stood still. Even the dim trees in autumn still look like they are rustling in the wind. The world is frozen. Time and space stopped at this moment. In this still space and time, Linzi walked slowly to the frozen fallen leaf and gently picked it off. He turned his back to Emperor Baikon and stood with his hands behind his back. ... Emperor Baikon was stunned. For a long time. He looked at Ziyango, who had turned into a gray stone statue, and then at Linao, who was still. ... He suddenly understood many things. He opened his mouth, feeling all kinds of emotions in his heart that he wanted to spit out. But when the words came to my lips, they only turned into one sentence. Amazing. Turn your back to Emperor Baikon. Linzi played with the fallen leaves in his hand. The fallen leaves gently ripple out of the world. Linzi's voice echoed between heaven and earth along with these ripples. They swayed into Emperor Baikon's heart, constantly washing the embankment in Emperor Baikon's heart with a mysterious power. Whether it's the Juji army, Baikon poison, or even if you want to unify the eastern region, as long as you answer me a question, I can do it for you. Emperor Baikon already knew what Linzi wanted to ask. You want to know if I killed 2 generations of the Lin family, right? So, is it you? Originally, Linzi wanted to wait for the big rats to get out on their own. But the current situation has reached this point. Then Linzi asked directly. He doesn't need to worry about anything anymore. For him, the land of Baikon is now just a speed pass. No matter what conspiracy is hidden behind it, it is nothing in the face of the absolutely overwhelming power of Shantian. Before achieving innateness, he worked step by step. After achieving Shantian, he still made progress step by step. Then isn't his talent in vain? Turning around, Linzi stared at Emperor Baikon with his amber eyes. The glazed golden light seems to be able to see through all the darkness in Emperor Baikon's heart. Facing this glazed golden light, Emperor Baikon was silent for a long time before saying with a complicated expression, what if I did it? If it were you, Linzi said, you are my grandfather. Half of my blood comes from you. Without you, there would be no me, Linzi. I won't do anything to you. But the Li family clan. I hope you can also feel the pain of an old man losing his beloved son and grandson. Hearing Linzi's answer, Emperor Baikon smiled inexplicably. Very good. Then, he calmed down and turned back into the ruthless iron-blooded emperor. You have a showdown with me, then I will open up and tell you what's on my mind. He replied categorically, the loneliness of the Lin family is indeed my intention. His eyes opened slightly, reappearing the demeanor of the founding emperor of Baikon. I am the emperor, how can we allow others to snore on the side of the bed? This is a taboo for kings. The Lin family is too powerful. I must weaken the Lin family, otherwise how can Baikon no longer be named Li? Everyone in the world says that history serves as a guide. It is enough for the destruction of Wuan to happen once. I will never allow it to happen a second time. Emperor Baiken snorted coldly. So I supported the Wei family to balance the power of your Lin family, and also allowed the major families to suppress your Lin family. When your father and second uncle went to the battlefield, I always hoped that the losers in Langdu would be smarter and keep them on the battlefield forever. But hope is hope, and it will eventually lose to reality. Even if I wish that all the Lin family members should die, I still can't change anything. Emperor Baiken glanced at the still Linao. Linao is the uncrowned emperor of the Baiken army. As long as he gives the order, I'm afraid at least 60% of the entire Baiken army will rebel. Coupled with the fact that he has unparalleled combat power, I am not even sure that I can defeat him in a one-on-one battle, let alone him leading a million-strong army. Quote. The death of the two outstanding figures of the Lin family and Lin Jie. I can only say, God helps me. So Linao has been searching everywhere over the years and can't find any evidence, because the person who destroyed the Lin family is not me, but God. God. Sky. Emperor Baiken's cold voice echoed continuously in the frozen world. Then the whole world began to tremble. The fallen leaves returned to their original trajectory. The gray ripples retreated to the beginning of the world. The sun and moon regained their color. The sky and the earth were dyed with color again. Everything seems to go back in time. Lin Zi's voice slowly flowed through the restored time and space again. It means that I can destroy the Juji dynasty with just a snap of my fingers. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Emperor Baiken recovered from the static time and space. His pupils shrank suddenly. That was just now. Hallucination. Wrong. That feeling is so real. But how could I possibly say those things from my heart? Emperor Baiken glanced at Linao in surprise, and then at Marquis Ziyang. They didn't seem to realize what happened just now, nor did they hear what Emperor Baiken said. Quote. Emperor Baiken suddenly felt terrified. Drops of cold sweat came out from his back, staining the dragon robe. He glanced at Lin Zi with lingering fear. Lin Zi smiled mysteriously at him. In his eyes, streaks of amber light were slowly disappearing. At this moment, Emperor Baiken lost all language. He stood as stunned as a log. Only the whooshing cold air rose from the soles of his feet and spread throughout his body, making his soul tremble. Emperor Baiken was speechless. Ziyang was stunned. Can I destroy the Juji dynasty with just a snap of my fingers? Even if you are half-step innate, you are still not truly innate. You are still far from being an innate god. And destroy the Juji dynasty with a snap of a finger. I think you should change your name after your grandfather. You have to be called Linao. With this sigh in his heart, Ziyang still praised Lin Zi on the surface. He had no choice but to rely on Lin Zi to turn the tide. Young Duke's magnanimity is really like a hero coming out of a young boy. But to be on the safe side, we still stick to safety. Lin Zi ignored Ziyang. He just glanced towards the sky and in the direction of Juji dynasty. Then, hold head high. The dragon's roar in the sky is shocking. The loud roar of the dragon shook the eastern region. A huge bloody dragon spanning the entire eastern region of Hidden Sword Mountain suddenly appeared in the sky. Boom! The terrifying energy and blood dragon power came overwhelmingly in an instant, sweeping across the entire eastern region. The pressure from the top creatures in the food chain fell heavily on everyone in the eastern region. At the same time, Zhang Feng also came to the eastern region, the land of wolves. He heard that the Juji dynasty here in the eastern region was going to war to unify the seven kingdoms. But it doesn't matter, Zhang Feng, who beat him, never cares about mortal struggles. However, following this war, Langdu caught his attention. Wolf City, one of the seven majestic countries in the eastern region, a country with hundreds of millions of people, has disappeared without a trace and without a trace. This kind of method is simply not available in the human world. Here in the wolf capital, there must be someone with an innate realm taking action. And the level of the person who took action is definitely not low. Because it is not difficult to destroy a country, but it is not easy to make the wolf city evaporate without any damage at all. At least, he can't even reach the divine vein realm with Zhangfeng Tangtang. The person who takes action must be above the divine vein realm. This made Zhang Feng instantly think of the danger his brother Zhang Jian sensed. I'm afraid the source of his brother's sword trembling is the wolf capital. So Zhang Feng came to Wolf City and investigated the root cause of the changes in Wolf City. He flew into every house to look for traces of their mysterious disappearances. Not long after, Zhang Feng smelled something unusual. This is a blood sacrifice. Zhang Feng looked shocked. Someone gave the entire wolf a blood sacrifice. The blood sacrifice of the entire wolf is hundreds of millions of living beings. Cruel, so cruel. Zhang Feng's heart sank. Now he was almost certain that the crisis his brother Zhang Jian sensed was the demon sect. Because such a crazy method of blood sacrifice is usually only practiced by the fanatics of the demon cult. Demon cult. Zhang Feng looked gloomy. Now things are going to get serious. Zhang Feng's figure flashed, and then turned into a sword light and cut through the sky, trying to return to Zhangjian Mountain. But that's it. Hold head high. A huge bloody dragon suddenly appeared. Zhang Feng was so frightened that he fell into the air and hit a big mountain hard, smashing the whole mountain into pieces. In the ruins of mountains and rocks filled with smoke and dust, Zhang Feng stared blankly at the bloody dragon in the sky. Qi and blood like a dragon. It's over. Hidden Sword Mountain cannot withstand a being of this level. It occurred to me that these changes had only taken place in their area of Hidden Sword Mountain since this powerful man with energy and blood as strong as a dragon came to Hidden Sword Mountain. Zhang Feng subconsciously thought that this strong man was the member of the demon sect who caused the blood sacrifice in Langdu. So Zhang Feng felt bitter in his heart. Beings in the Qi Blood Dragon realm only needed to manifest the Qi Blood Dragon, and one of them could wipe out their Hidden Sword Mountain and the Mountain Master's hidden sword. The demon sect actually still has a being alive in the dragon realm. Could it be that a certain powerful figure from the demon cult was resurrected through a blood sacrifice and has just returned to the dragon-like realm of energy and blood? Broken. Something is going wrong. Zhangjian immediately stood up and turned into sword light, carefully preparing to rush back to Zhangjian Mountain to report the truth. At this time, the bloody dragon made a move. It flew into the Juji dynasty, and its huge head stood on top of the Juji dynasty army. Huge energy and blood instantly poured into the Juji army. Everyone seemed to have been pressed to pause, stopping their siege actions and not daring to move at all. The front of the army. The Liang king of Juji dynasty, who was responsible for commanding thousands of armies, suppressed the fear in his heart. He dismounted, knelt down respectfully towards the bloody dragon, and bowed to the ground. Your Excellency, the God-man, the little king is the Liang king of the Nine Extremes dynasty in the human world. This attack on New Moon is based on His Majesty the Emperor's order to unify the Seven Kingdoms. If this move disturbs the purity of Your Majesty the God, I will forgive you. King Liang behaved very humbly. In front of the innate gods and men, ants are just ants, and mortals are just mortals. You must not go beyond the limit, otherwise not only your own life will be in danger, but the entire country will be wiped out. The innate God-man, the king's power is divinely granted. This is by no means just talk. Therefore, upon seeing the arrival of the innate God-man, even a high-ranking figure in the secular world such as Liang King, who held the Nine Great Army in his hands, immediately became respectful and humbled. Not to mention the others, they had already buried their heads and their bodies were trembling, making it difficult for them to speak a complete sentence. The thousands of troops and horses that were invincible in the world lost all their destructive power and turned into quails one by one. At this time, a majestic voice resounded throughout the world. I am the Marquis of Baikan Shenwu. Quote exclamation mark quote. What? Baikan. A divine man turned out to be Baikan's Shenwu. For a time, both the Juji dynasty and the Crescent Moon dynasty froze. Quote. It took a long time for King Liang to react. He quickly said, understood. Xiao Wang understands. King Liang mounted his warhorse and used his full strength to make his voice spread as far as possible. All troops, withdraw. From now on, no one under our Juji dynasty is allowed to invade the land of Baikan. Withdraw. There is no need to say more, let alone talk about how difficult it is for us to be in Juji, and how unifying the world is the general trend. One word, withdraw. Without any hesitation, King Liang decisively withdrew his troops. The gods all said that he was Baikan Shenwu. If he still couldn't understand what he might say next, he would just commit suicide. Facing an innate god-man, there is absolutely no chance for a mortal to win. These are simply two different life forms. As a result, the mighty Juji dynasty army fled in panic. There were no bloody battles and no arguments. Just a word from the innate god. The outcome has been decided. Seeing the Juji dynasty's army evacuating hastily as if they had seen a ghost. Everyone in the New Moon dynasty sighed as if they were waking up from a dream. No matter how many years or how many times, the secular world will always marvel at the power of surrendering to the innate gods. In the middle of the New Moon army, the king of the New Moon, who was driving the expedition personally, took back the sword in his hand, and felt dumbfounded for a moment. He was ready to fight to the death and die for his country. But he didn't expect Baikon's innate god to suddenly descend from the sky and stop fighting. Ziyang, Ji asked you to go to Baikon to ask for help, but you actually found such a god for Ji. Next to the New Moon King, Marquis Jingbian suddenly asked, Your Majesty, a god has appeared over Baikon, then we. A secular dynasty gave birth to an innate god man. This was a major matter concerning the life and death of all countries. In front of the innate god man, all countries must unconditionally surrender and obey, otherwise, the whole country will be destroyed. No one survived. This is a bloody and indisputable fact. Hearing this, the New Moon King pondered for a moment. I don't know the specific identity of the Shenwu Marquis. Let's take a look at the situation for the time being. It is true that innate gods have appeared in the eastern region of Hidden Sword Mountain in the past tens of thousands of years, but their appearance did not greatly affect the situation in the eastern region countries. Because those innate gods and men are not of royal blood in their respective countries, what does the life and death of the country have to do with them? At most, just take action once for the sake of being a foreigner. So in the end, those gods basically brought their families into the world of innate gods, and from then on they bid farewell to the secular world, separated by immortals and mortals. There was even a god-man who had a blood feud with his own country. The first thing he did after becoming innate was to destroy the country, ruthlessly killing nearly 1 billion living beings in the entire country. Therefore, whether it is a big deal for someone in a secular dynasty to achieve innateness depends on the specific identity of that god-man. The Crescent King thought carefully and said, But since he can be Baikon's Shenwu, he must not be from Baikon's royal family. It has nothing to do with the Li family. Before that man of God bids farewell to the world, we just need to be more tolerant to Baikon. After saying that, the New Moon King took another deep look at the 9 great armies that were escaping in haste. The most important thing right now is the Juji dynasty. When the god is here, Juji dare not make trouble, but when the god is gone, what should come will still come. In the coming days, you must not let down your guard. Keep exploring, keep investigating. Yes, I understand. The other side, a high mountain. The mysterious man in black robe was itching to see it. Outrageous. That's outrageous. Can a strong man with blood as strong as a dragon be the Shenwu of a small secular dynasty like you? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. You just deceive these mortals who know nothing. Just kidding. What kind of existence is in the chi-blooded dragon realm? That is just one step away from stepping into the divine sea realm and becoming the master of a realm and a super powerful person in charge of a side. This kind of existence, even at the peak of their holy religion's glory, was an absolute upper-class figure, and ordinary innates could not come into contact with it. Can such a big shot stay in this idle mortal dynasty? I believed your evil deeds. The man in black robe guessed that there was probably a certain family in the Baikon dynasty who had an old relationship with this person, and this person just came to visit by chance. Forget it, the energy, blood and fear collected are almost enough anyway. The man in black robe rubbed the blood-colored crystal ball in his hand. In the crystal ball, layers of viscous blood glowing with blood are constantly rippling out microwaves, releasing a bloody and dark ominous aura. Time to go. The man in black robe did not fight, and decisively changed places. Only a fool would run wild in the territory of a strong man with strong blood like a dragon. After glancing at the 9 great army, the man in black robe's eyes flashed slightly. But before leaving, he had to collect the interest first. The things from my holy religion are not that easy to use. In a flash, the man in black robe disappeared. At the same time, Zhang Feng also looked confused. Baikon dynasty, Marquis Shenwu. He scratched his head. Are you here to visit relatives? Like the man in black robe, Zhang Feng did not think that Lin Zi was a native of their Kangjian mountain. After all, they have been in charge of this area for so many years in Zhangjian mountain. How can they still not know whether there is a strong man with blood like a dragon? As for thinking like other mortals that Lin Zi is an innate who has just made a breakthrough. Come on, tell me, who is in the third stage of true physique realm who rides on a horse as soon as he is promoted to innate? I have lived for tens of thousands of years and never dared to have such a dream. But in this case, the blood sacrifice in Langdu should have nothing to do with him. People in the demon sect wish they could kill hundreds of millions more people to collect the energy of living beings. How could they possibly stop the Juji dynasty's attack? Zhang Feng thought for a moment and said, in that case, let's go see this guy. It will also happen to let him see if the fire worship demon cult is here in Langdu. If the fire-worshipping demon sect really reappears in the world, then a powerful man with blood like a dragon would have enough prestige and right to speak to inform all the sects in the Wagwang realm to track down the traces of the demon cult. Thinking of this, Zhang Feng went directly to Baikan. Baikan dynasty. Lin. With one word, Lin Zi withdrew the Juji army, then he put down the pressure and dispersed his energy and blood. The giant energy blood dragon that spanned the entire eastern territory finally dissipated. The majestic and extremely tyrannical pressure dissipated, the boulder in everyone's hearts was removed, and they finally had a chance to breathe. Ziyanghu gasped for air, and he was so frightened that he was at a loss. Innate God. Oh my God, he was actually talking to an innate God just now. And he just slandered others. Marquis Ziyang's feet softened and he knelt straight in front of Lin Zi. Original, no, mortal Ziyang pays homage to His Majesty the God. Mortal people don't know the presence of gods. If there is anything offensive to His Majesty the God in the vulgar language, I hope the God will forgive you. Lin Zi waved his hand, it's okay, get up. Ziyang Hu Liandao didn't dare, no, I don't dare. I'll just kneel down and listen. Quote. Forget it, it's up to you. Thump. Rapid footsteps sounded throughout the Lin family. The Lin Jiazhen cautiously approached the main palace and cast a fanatical look at Lin Zi with reverence. All of them could hear the sentence just now, my Baikan Shenhuo, clearly. There is no doubt that this extremely talented young master of their family is the innate god who unleashed the giant dragon of energy and blood and shocked the entire eastern region. Master. Quote. Congratulations, young master, on your achievement. Congratulations, Master Shi, on your achievement. Quote. The voices of everyone in the Lin family were deafening. Waves of vast and majestic sound waves surged in the Lin family's mansion. Then it surged in all directions like a wave, resounding throughout the Lin family. Congratulations to the young master on your achievement. Quote. Immediately afterwards, the entire Baikan also unanimously paid the highest respect to Lin Zi, a living god and living legend. Congratulations to Marquis Shenwu for your achievement of innateness. Congratulations to Marquis Shenwu. Quote. In the secular world, if someone achieves innate achievements, it is the highest honor that can shock the world. At this moment, everyone in Baikan turned to the imperial capital in the direction of the Lin family to offer their most sincere congratulations to Lin Zi, who had completed his life evolution and became an immortal. At the same time, they also prayed and hoped in their hearts, wishing to Lin Zi, the new god, that the coming year would be smooth and the country and the people would be safe. Amidst the festive and warm congratulations, the head of the Lin family, Lin Zi smiled at everyone, then pressed his hands to stop everyone's enthusiasm. I have received your congratulations. Drink a few more drinks tonight. As for other things, we'll talk about them tonight, so please step aside. Yes, this sound was unprecedentedly violent, showing the reverence of a fanatical believer inside and outside. After everyone in the Lin family retreated, Lin Zi spread his hands, and drops of blood condensed in the void. He shrunk the blood into a bright blood crystal. Then he placed the blood crystal in the hands of Emperor Baikan. This blood crystal plus Shizhong powder is enough to expel all the poisonous poisons in the imperial capital. Emperor Baikan glanced at Lin Zi steadily. The expression is very complicated. He opened his mouth, and all kinds of emotions rushed to his mouth. But in the end, it just turned into a sigh with very complicated emotions, alas. After taking the blood crystal, Emperor Baiken left the Lin family. His back was either lonely or unwilling. Or is it liberation? Lin Ao glanced at Emperor Baiken, his reaction was too much. Hearing this, the kneeling Marquis Ziyang said goodbye quickly. Emperor Baiken had already left, so why was he still hanging around? The grandfather and grandson obviously have something to say. Mortal Ziyang doesn't dare to disturb you, so I'm leaving now. Marquis Ziyang left. Lin Zi then said, Grandpa, if the death of father and second uncle has nothing to do with the emperor. Lin Ao understood. Apparently, Lin Zi had already communicated with Emperor Baiken through some means they did not understand. That's why Emperor Baiken looked like that when he left. It would be best if it has nothing to do with him. Lin Ao sighed. It was unclear whether the anger he had held for many years dissipated, or whether he finally felt enlightened. So, was it just an accident? Lin Ao frowned. The battle with Langdu was just a small impact. Neither country used the real main force. In addition, they have so many brothers from the Lin family army who are protecting them. I really can't believe that they will be completely annihilated by the Wolf Capital army. At this time, Lin Zi raised his eyebrows. What's wrong? It's okay. Someone is looking for me. My grandson will go and meet him first. After that, Lin Zi's figure disappeared from the Lin family. High above Baiken, Zhang Feng has been waiting for a long time. As soon as he arrived at Baiken, he slightly released the aura unique to innate beings. This kind of breath can only be felt by those who are also innate. Seeing Lin Zi coming, Zhang Feng immediately bowed his hand to Lin Zi and said, Zhang Feng from Zhangjian Mountain, I have met my senior. Among the innate creatures, only the strength and weakness are considered, and the one with the greatest strength comes first. Facing the true body realm, Zhang Feng, who is in the divine vein realm, should call out to his senior. People from Hidden Sword Mountain. Exactly, my brother is the owner of the Hidden Sword Mountain, and I would like to say hello to the senior on behalf of my brother. Zhang Feng's words were to show his origin and to test Lin Zi's sect with his brother who was also in the true body realm. However, Lin Zi's words completely stopped Zhang Feng. Well, I am the Marquis of Baiken Shenwu. Quote. This, Zhang Feng had no choice but to say, I wonder which sect does senior live in. I have something important to report to the various sects in Qingyu. I hope senior can pass it back to the sect and notify all parties to be alert to follow up. Oh, what's the matter? Zhang Feng said with a solemn expression, a name that hung over everyone like a shadow, fire worship demon cult. Quote. A gust of high heavenly wind blew by. Both of them were speechless. Lin Zi looked calm. Zhang Feng looked confused. No, the fire worship cult. Brother, it's the fire worship cult. You should at least give me some reaction. Could it be that I couldn't speak clearly? Senior. Go on. Quote. The corner of Zhang Feng's mouth twitched slightly. You were too calm. That's right. The cause of the matter is that my brother Zhangjian sensed an inexplicable terrifying crisis. This premonition of crisis is exactly the same as that of the old blood poisonous demon from the demon sect back then. Bloody old demon. Lin Zi's eyes narrowed when he heard this familiar name. It's the old blood poisonous demon again. Seeing this, Zhang Feng thought that Lin Zi had heard the name of a big figure in the demon sect, and finally started to pay attention to it. He continued, so my elder brother sent the juniors down the mountain to patrol and look for any abnormalities. Finally, I discovered that the whole country in the Wolf Capital disappeared without a trace of anyone. So I carefully investigated the changes in the Wolf Capital, and finally the junior found traces of blood sacrifice in the Wolf Capital. The whole country of the Wolf Capital did not disappear out of thin air, but all of them were blood sacrificed by people from the demon cult. Furthermore, this large-scale blood sacrifice has not changed at all. It is expected that the people in the demon sect who do it must have extraordinary cultivation, or they must have advanced methods given by the big figures of the demon sect. This junior's cultivation is not sharp enough to carefully analyze the traces and methods of the demon sect. Senior, please dare to move and take a look at the Wolf City. I expect that the people in the demon cult will not be able to escape your eyes, senior. Lin Zi nodded and took Zhang Feng to the Wolf Capital in a blink of an eye. Zhang Feng led Lin Zi the way. Senior, look, it's over there. That's where this junior sensed the aura of the blood sacrifice. Hearing this, Lin Zi's eyes immediately turned into a golden amber color. Amber's divine light penetrates everything in the world and reaches the essence of things. The world instantly became clear in Lin Zi's eyes. In this new and clear world, Lin Zi saw familiar traces and smelled familiar smells. Wisps of bloody flames floated over the wolf capital. A bloody aura with an unknown demonic aura swirled around the entire wolf. Lin Zi would not mistake this kind of aura and flames. After all, he himself is the existence of LV10 true fire holy demon art. How could he mistake this magical power that belongs exclusively to the true fire holy demon art? However, this seems to be somewhat different from the pure holy demon fire. It's more like a defective lower level replacement. Lin Zi had a special sense of control over it. He who possesses pure holy demon true fire seems to be able to easily control these incomplete lower true fires. Condensation. Lin Zi's eyes flashed with amber gold. The word Ning fell. The true fire and bloody aura of the holy demon floating in the sky above Wolf City were summoned by him, the pure holy demon, and condensed into a special mass of demonic aura. As soon as these demonic energies came into contact with Lin Zi, they were instantly mercilessly devoured by the pure holy demon fire in Lin Zi's body. Boom! The demonic flames in Lin Zi's body increased a bit. And as the holy demon true fire burned, Lin Zi's cultivation realm, which had reached the peak of qi and blood like a dragon, also became slightly looser. This holy demonic true fire actually consumes the lowered demonic flames and blood, transforming them into the purest innate origin, thereby feeding back on itself and advancing the realm. Driven by the holy demon true fire, Lin Zi's realm is heading toward the fourth innate realm, the divine sea realm. With this momentum, Lin Zi doesn't even need to look for other techniques. He just needs to slaughter a few more countries and absorb the lower demonic energy a few more times. The divine sea realm will naturally come naturally. Tisk, magic power is magic power after all. Now, Lin Zi can probably understand why Zhang Feng from Hidden Sword Mountain is so cautious and serious about the words fire worship demon cult. As for the magic power of the true fire holy demon art, as for the people in the demon sect who would directly sacrifice blood to the entire wolf city if they disagree with each other, the fire-worshipping demon sect is worth this. Lin Zhejiang was sighing at the magic of magic skills and magic religion. On the other side, Zhang Feng was stunned by Lin Zi's sudden move. He stared at Lin Zi blankly, with a look of disbelief on his face. Is there any mistake? This guy just absorbed all the demonic energy and blood energy. Isn't this the method used by demons and demons? This. Exclamation mark. Broken. I'm on horseback and complaining to the rightful owner. The thought just crossed my mind. Run. Whoosh. The next moment, Zhang Feng turned into a sword light. Turn around and run. He tried his best, spitting out several mouthfuls of essence and blood to burn and escape, thousands of miles away. It's over. I was careless. Zhang Feng really didn't expect that a person like Lin Zi, who was full of freshness and pure aura, would be a member of the demon cult. Aren't the people in the average demon sect all hiding their heads and tail, full of demonic energy and karma? The demon cult demon is really cunning. A look of despair appeared on Zhang Feng's face. He fired a bloody sword light and rushed straight towards Hidden Sword Mountain. Brother, you have to run quickly. The hidden front can escape thousands of miles. However, in front of him, a figure that stood proudly like an eternal green pine stood in front of him. Zhang Feng was filled with despair. He drew out his long sword and was ready to fight with his life to buy time for Hidden Sword Mountain. Faced with Zhang Feng's vigilance, Lin Zi, dressed in snow clothes, spoke. You haven't finished talking yet, why are you leaving in such a hurry? Demon cult demon, stop talking nonsense. If you want to kill or behead me, just come over here. Lin Zi was speechless. If I were a member of the demon cult, you would have stayed in the wolf capital forever now. My absorption of demonic energy is just another method that you don't know about. Fuss. Zhang Feng was stunned for a moment. He glanced at Lin Zi suspiciously. Senior, are you really not a member of the demon cult? Lin Zi said, I have said it from the beginning, I am the Marquis Shenwu of the Baikan dynasty. I don't want to say this a third time. Zhang Feng froze. He looked Lin Zi up and down. Then he said, if that's the case. Senior, please wait a moment. There are some things that I want to confirm first. Random. After saying this, Zhang Feng saw Lin Zi closing his eyes and concentrating. He had no intention of taking action, and no trace of his demonic energy leaked out. Seeing this, Zhang Feng sat cross-legged in the void, and his powerful divine vein realm innate consciousness instantly swept away the entire Baikan dynasty. Quote. After a breath, Zhang Feng frowned. Quote. After 2 breaths, Zhang Feng showed an incredible expression. Quote. After 3 breaths, his body began to tremble slightly. Finally, Zhang Feng's body trembled violently. His consciousness was withdrawn, and his whole body trembled with horror. An indescribable coolness rushed directly into his bones, causing him to tremble instinctively. You. Zhang Feng suddenly felt that the world had become even very scary. The young man in white stood in front of him. He is Baikan's Shenwu, Lin Zi. A terrifying and powerful man in the 3rd innate realm, the true body realm. And this year 18 years old. You are 18 years old. Zhang Feng couldn't even utter a complete sentence. 18-year-old innate. Okay, I can force myself to understand this. You may be a descendant of the ancient divine lineage of some ancient family. But the 18-year-old is in the 3rd innate realm, the true body realm, and the 3rd stage of the true body realm, with chi and blood like a dragon. How do you understand this? Even the master of their Hidden Sword Mountain, Hidden Sword, who has been the most gifted and talented genius in the Hidden Sword Mountain area for tens of thousands of years, only broke through to the true body state when he was approaching 60,000 years old. You are 18 years old. You must be innately divine, born as a god, and descended to become an immortal. This is indeed a bit over the top and completely beyond Zhang Feng's understanding. Zhang Feng looked like he had seen a ghost. What? I don't look like 18 years old? Lin Zi asked jokingly. No, Junior. Junior means that you are not old, Senior. Junior is talking about you. Zhang Feng was in disbelief and spoke incoherently. At this time, a voice as cold as a sword resounded throughout the world. My brother-in-law's shallow knowledge makes the saint laugh. Zheng, a peerless divine blade unleashed his edge. Between heaven and earth, strands of invisible sword energy cut through the obstruction of the air, turning into a mighty sword energy storm and sweeping in. Streams of sword energy converged from all directions to one point. They are constantly intertwined and condensed. Finally, he transformed into a man in green who was as sharp as a sword, as cold and aloof as a sword. His arrival made the air of the entire world seem to be hiding a sharp sword, becoming colder and sharper. The master of Hidden Sword Mountain has hidden his sword and has seen the saint. Holy One. Hearing Zhang Jian's words, Zhang Feng's whole body almost burst into pieces. What kind of existence can be called a saint? Above the 6 innate realms, only those who are in the supreme and most majestic holy realm can be called saints. They are the most supreme and top beings in Tianlin. Dominated the ebb and flow of Tianlin for countless years. This kind of existence has always seen the beginning but not the end of the dragon. Let alone the small divine vein realm of Zhangfeng, even the Tianyuan emperor of the 5th innate realm is not qualified to meet him. Now, such a supreme existence was standing in front of him. Zhang Feng almost fainted. It's been a long journey. One moment he was as energetic and blood-like as a senior dragon, another moment he was a demon from the demon cult, and now he was that of the supreme saint. Zhang Feng's heartbeat has repeated several times. Who can tell me what it feels like? You call me saint. Lin Zi narrowed his eyes. Why? Zhang Zhan said, I have been fortunate enough to hear that the saint's dignity is invisible and has no form. They incarnate all things and dream 3,000 things with one thought. Every person we see in the human world may be the incarnation of a saint walking in the human world. And some of these incarnations are a stray thought of the saint, some are a ray of will of the saint, and some are a dream of the saint. Chapter 51. Among them, distracting thoughts and will are the easiest to distinguish, because they are often the human incarnations of saints who actively descend, and possess the thoughts and insights of saints. And the dream. Speaking of dreams, Zhang Zhan looked at Lin Zi closely, as if he wanted to see something on Lin Zi's face. Quote, Dreams are the most bizarre and mysterious. In the saint's dream, he forgot his own existence and became another stranger, experiencing another period of life and starting a new journey, unaware of reality and fantasy. Lin Zi understood in his heart. The existence of this realm of saints is a bit like Zhuang Zhou dreaming of butterflies or butterflies dreaming of Zhuang Zhou. It has risen to the philosophical level of understanding the reality and illusion of the world. Just listen to Zhang Jian continue to say. However, the presence of a saint is always special. Even if the saint wishes that he was just an ordinary person in his dream, the saint's will manifest a different kind of mystery. For example, it is absolutely impossible for ordinary people to advance to the third innate realm at the age of 18. But in the dream of a saint, everything is possible. Obviously, in Hidden Sword's understanding, Lin Zi is a dream of a saint. In his opinion, except for the outrageous and incomprehensible existence of the saint, there is no other explanation that can explain the three innate realms of the 18-year-old. So if you are not the incarnation of the saint's dream, how can there be a saint in this world? That's right to say. My family knows my own business. He is not a saint, he is just a time-traveling reincarnation. And although the saint is powerful, he still cannot explain the existence of God-level understanding. But this is not enough for outsiders to understand. The plug-in of God-level understanding is the foundation for Lin Zi to settle down in this life. He will never tell anyone. If you want to treat yourself as a saint by hiding the sword, then go ahead. Maybe this identity can bring some additional benefits to myself. Therefore, Lin Zi just smiled softly and said calmly, maybe. I don't care whether I am the incarnation of a saint or not. I just want to know now, where does this fire worship demon cult come from? Hearing this, Zhang Jian's eyes flashed slightly. Do you have a grudge against the fire worship demon cult? Lin Zi shook his head. There is no hatred, but there is still a connection. He even did me a little favor. Did you a small favor? Hidden Sword is puzzled. At this time, Zhang Feng came over and said, Brother, the saint is talking about the blood sacrifice in Langdu. The dream of a saint came to the Lin family, and the Lin family has a blood feud with the Langdu kingdom. Their direct descendants all died at the hands of the Langdu people. Zhang Feng thought that the blood sacrifice wolf was the Yuan and Xiaosheng mentioned by Lin Zi. But in fact, although this can be regarded as help, Lin Zi was referring more to the true fire holy demon art. If it weren't for the true fire holy demon art, Lin Zi would still be waiting for the Wanyu 7 stars to be recorded, and would have no chance of being born. Zhang Jian understood. That's it. But saints don't have to think so. People in the demon cult have always been lawless and surly. This can be seen from the fact that they can directly sacrifice an entire wolf with blood. This fire worship demon cult is not a good thing. After that, Zhang Jian began to tell the origin of the fire worship demon cult. When it comes to the fire worship demon cult, it's not that far away, it just happened 8,000 years ago. When I think about it now, it still seems like yesterday. About 8,000 years ago, the fire worship demon cult suddenly rose to power at an incredible speed under the leadership of their leader. Its speed and power are breathtaking. In just a few hundred years, the power of the fire worship demon cult has spread across the entire Qing territory and reached its peak. It is so popular that it even outshines the 9 sects of Qingyu. It is unparalleled for a time. And looking at the root cause, everything comes from a skill called True Fire Holy Demon Art. True Fire Holy Demon Technique. The stars in Lin Zi's eyes condensed slightly. This magic skill is very evil. It can absorb the origin of qi and blood of all living beings in the world, as well as the fear and anger of all living beings, and transform it into the purest innate energy, which can be used by demon practitioners to advance to a higher level day by day. It is said that there is a demonic practitioner who was directly promoted from the acquired peak to the second level of innate divine veins in just 10 years by massacring cities and killing people. The speed of his promotion is so fast that it makes people feel chilly. Zhang Jian sighed. In addition, this true fire holy demon art has also been divided into 2 different versions within the demon cult. It's called the Little True Fire Holy Demon Art. It's a low-grade earth-level technique. It's specially used for ordinary followers of the demon sect to practice. The other is the Real True Fire Holy Demon Art. It is a mid-level earth-level technique that can only be practiced by the demon sect's leader or above. And the true fire holy demon art practiced by the Hall Master has absolute control and devouring power over ordinary believers. In other words, as long as the time is right, the Hall Master can devour his followers who practice the little true fire holy demon art and deprive them of their cultivation for his own use. This is like raising fat sheep in a pen. Once the sheep are mature, they can be slaughtered and harvested at will. The cultivation and magic flames that ordinary believers have worked hard to make have become the wedding dress for the Hall Master. Hearing this, Lin Zi understood why he reacted to the remaining magic flames and blood above the wolf capital. It seems that the person who took action in Wolf City was just an ordinary demon cultist. Here Zhang Jian continued to speak. That doesn't sound like a smart thing to do. However, even so, for the sake of an innate skill and a chance to be promoted to the Hall Master, there are still countless people who are fighting for the demon sect. It is precisely by relying on such methods that the speed of the rise of the demon sect is difficult to contain. In just 100 years, it has become a behemoth across the Qing territory. In contrast, during that period of time, people often died in Qingyu, and often people died in a city or a country. The number of deaths is hard to estimate. Speaking of this, Zhang Jian was extremely helpless. Those few years were also the dark moments of their hidden sword mountain. Zhang Jian couldn't even estimate how many people died in their area of Zhangjian Mountain during that period. Don't you care about the 9 sects of Qingyu? Zhang Jian said. The 9 sects of Qingyu are in charge. But in addition to these low-level members, the demon cult also has 4 major protectors and 2 leaders. They are the true top core of the demon sect. They control demonic skills that are more advanced than the true fire holy demon art, and their strength is unfathomable. The strong men of the 9 sects of Qingyu surrounded and attacked them many times, but they still managed to break through and escape. In other words, things really got too big in the end. Chang's sword sect among the 9 sects of Qingyu did not hesitate to wake up their sleeping semi-saint ancestor. Only then did they settle the matter in one fell swoop, kill the top leaders of the demon sect, and suppress the demons. Teach power. Let Qingyu get back on track. Otherwise, if the demon cult continues to develop, the consequences will be disastrous. After that, the demon sect disappeared overnight, and all records of the true fire holy demon art were destroyed by the 9 sects of Qingyu. At this point, the tribulation caused by the fire worship demon cult has finally been submerged in the dust of the past. The sword light flashed in Zhang Jian's eyes, but I never thought that only 8,000 years later, the fire worship demon cult would make a comeback again. Did the 9 sects of Qingyu fail to destroy all the remaining true fire holy demon art? With the power of the 9 sects of Qingyu, it shouldn't be. Zhang Feng said. Perhaps there were 1 or 2 missing copies that were taken away. Zhang Jian shook his head. This matter is not that simple. The rise of the demon cult is not just as simple as a book of true fire holy demon art, but also because they have the support of the mysterious leader behind them. Moreover, the crisis he sensed was not something that a book of true fire holy demon art could bring about. But now is not the time to think about it. The top priority is to find out the people in the demon cult. Zhang Feng, go and tell the sects and realm leaders about this quickly, so that they can take precautions on their own. Okay, I'll go right away. Saint, Zhang Feng retires. After saying that, Zhang Feng turned around and left in a resolute manner, transforming into a sword light and escaping thousands of miles away. Watching Zhang Feng leave, Zhang Jian said to Lin Zi, the saint came to Zhangjian Mountain and was ignorant in his past life. He must have caused many problems to the innate world. Why don't you go back to Hidden Sword Mountain as a guest for a few days with me? Hearing this, a strange light flashed in Lin Zi's eyes. As the only immortal sect that rules over 20 countries in this area, Hidden Sword Mountain is undoubtedly sacred and mysterious in the eyes of the world. Over the years, countless people have tried their best to squeeze into Hidden Sword Mountain, flocking to it. When it comes to recruiting disciples every 50 years, Zhangjian Mountain is even more crowded, with an endless stream of people seeking immortality. If there were no immortal fate order, the existence of true fire holy demon art and Wanyu 7 stars, then Lin Zi would probably become one of those seeking immortality. However, today is different from the past. Lin Zi has already achieved the 3rd level of innateness, and his status is higher than that of the Mountain Master Hidden Sword. This Hidden Sword Mountain naturally lost its mystery and necessity in Lin Zi's eyes. Now, For him, only the library pavilion in Hidden Sword Mountain is attractive. As the supreme immortal sect that rules more than 20 countries including the Baikan dynasty, the treasures of Zhangjian Mountain are definitely not comparable to those of the Baikan royal family. If Lin Zi visited Hidden Sword Mountain, even if there were many repetitions of multi-level skills, Lin Zi would be able to gain hundreds of points of progress in vain, and it would even be impossible to directly upgrade to LV4. So, he immediately said with a smile, "Then I'll be bothering you. Hidden Sword Mountain, this is the holy land that many people in Baikan dream of." The saint is joking. Hidden Sword bowed with his empty hand, "Please." Lin Zi left a message to Lin Ao and followed Hidden Sword to the fairy gate Hidden Sword Mountain that everyone in Baikan dreamed of. Hidden Sword Mountain. Once back behind Hidden Sword Mountain, Zhangjian immediately ordered his disciples to dispatch urgently to seal off the entire area of Zhangjian Mountain to investigate the traces of the demon sect members. Once any discovery is made, a signal will be sent immediately. All disciples above the innate realm are dispatched immediately. This matter is of great importance. You must not take it lightly. Do you understand? Yes, I will obey the Mountain Lord's decree. After explaining to the disciples of Zhangjian Mountain, Zhangjian added, all disciples of the disciples above the 8th level of the day after tomorrow will also join the operation. You are responsible for traveling around various countries to gather information. Xuanhua, you are always careful in your work. I will leave the disciples of the acquired realm to you to lead the team. After Zhang Jian finished speaking for a long time, no one responded. He glanced at the location of the Haotianmen people. Where's Xuanhua? Hu Tian's disciples, look at me and I look at you. After a while, an old man with gray beard and hair stood up and said, Master Qizhan Mountain, are you talking about senior brother Zhenshuan Huazhen? Good. The old man replied immediately. Back to the mountain master, senior brother Zhen Xuanhua failed to break through the innate world and passed away 1,400 years ago. Hearing this, the hidden sword stagnated. But he forgot that it had been 3,000 years since he last woke up. 3,000 years of time is just a blink of an eye for innate beings, but for mortals, it is already several long life journeys. Pity. He was originally very optimistic about Zhen Xuanhua. This kid is smart, careful in his work, and has good talents. If he can be promoted to innate, he will be a good prospect who can help manage Hidden Sword Mountain and grow together. For this reason, Zhangjian specially gave Zhen Xuanhua a baptism of sword energy 3,000 years ago to sort out his meridians, extend his lifespan, and increase his chances of breaking through his innate abilities. But this step of innateness has trapped too many people. To enter the innate world, opportunity, understanding, and talent are all indispensable. Their Hidden Sword Mountain selects the best from all over the world every time, and admits thousands of the best disciples into the mountain at one time. But even so, after more than 30,000 years since the sect was founded, the number of people who have broken through the Shantian in Zhangjian Mountain is only a mere 300. Such is the innate difficulty. Hidden Sword is not too surprising. He just nodded slightly and dismissed the matter without pursuing it further. The innate world is always like this. The old man goes and the new man comes. Used to it. In that case, you will be responsible for leading the team. The old man with gray beard and hair worshipped devoutly in front of the young mountain master. Disciple, please obey the mountain lord's decree. After telling the disciples to seal off the entire territory to track down the demon sect, all the disciples dispersed. Zhangjian then said to Lin Zi, the matter of the demon sect is urgent, and the saint is being neglected. It doesn't matter, business matters. Zhang Jian nodded, then went straight to the point and got to the point. As a swordsman, he has always been straightforward and said what he had to say, and did not like to be polite. To be honest, I actually invited the saint to come to my Hidden Sword Mountain this time because I have something to ask of you. Before Lin Zi could speak, Zhang Jian said with blazing eyes, I would like to ask the saint for advice on the second step of the true body, the secret of blood as bright as the sun. It has been nearly 20,000 years since I was promoted to the realm of true body qi and blood. During these 20,000 years, my qi and blood have been polished to the extreme state. I am only half a step away from being as bloody as the sun. However, this half step has been trapped for thousands of years. Every time I have a sudden inspiration, it is fleeting and I never get the point. The only half step is missing. If I had the guidance of a famous teacher at this moment, I think I would be able to get through it in one click and break through to the second step, bleeding like the sun. Zhang Jian said solemnly, for this, Zhang Jian is willing to give everything, and I will give you everything I have in Kangjian Mountain. Upon hearing Zhang Jian's words, Lin Zi immediately replied, in that case, I would like to enter your Kangjian Mountain Library Pavilion for 3 days. How about that? Whoosh! A sword-shaped token exuding sharp sword energy stopped in front of Lin Zi. It's a deal. Good. Lin Zi put away the token of the sword with satisfaction. It is comfortable to talk to a swordsman like Zhang Jian. You can say whatever you want, without so many twists and turns. Everyone can happily take what they need. After collecting the token, Lin Zi began to explain to Zhang Jian the secret of blood as bright as the sun. Quote. Lin Zi spoke, hiding his sword and listening. Not long after, Zhang Jian, who was already extremely talented, realized what Lin Zi meant. The fog in his mind that had trapped him for thousands of years dissipated in an instant like clouds clearing the sky. He immediately closed his eyes, and the blood in his body began to surge. Seeing this, Lin Zi quietly left and went to the library in Zhangjian Mountain. Baikan Dynasty. Wudong and Sha Qinghe walked on the street. Sha Qinghe listened with great interest to the various praises and admirations of Lin Zi from passers-by. Their torrent was like a river, and it was out of control. Wudong, on the other hand, looked a little gloomy. She frowned, looking worried. I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Lin Zi is hiding too deep. He turned out to be an existence in the 3rd level of innate true body. It's better now. I don't know if he saw anything in Mianshulo. You should have noticed it. With his energy and blood as strong as a dragon, even if he is unconscious, he can sense it at such a close distance. But if he could sense it and see it, then why did he seem to know nothing? No reason. How could anyone be right about? Wudong is incredible and I can't understand it. The joys and sorrows of people are not always the same. Others were praising Lin Zi for being unparalleled in the world, but Wudong was only concerned about whether he had been exposed. Tong tong. Tong tong. Ah, what for? Sha Qinghe asked. What's wrong with you? You've been frowning. Isn't everything over? Oh, I'm fine, I just. Wudong looked around and talked about him. After a series of repeated changes in his expression, Wudong made a decision. I have a stomach ache. Xiaohe, you can play by yourself, I'm going back first. After that, Wudong left Sha Qinghe and returned to his room in Baikan Academy. Back in the room, Wudong packed up his important belongings. That's right, she's running away. She had stayed in Baikan before because she was attracted by Baikan's poor mountains and poor waters. It was not within the important inspection range of Zhangjian Mountain and it was unlikely that an innate god would be born. She could rest assured to do her own thing. But now, Baikan has actually reached such an outrageous 3rd level of innateness. No dog will be left alone in this wretched place. It's a pity for Xiaohe. It was hard to find a sister I could talk to. Pity. Wudong thought for a while and left a letter to Sha Qinghe saying that he was going to travel far away, so he said goodbye. If we are destined in the future, let's meet again. Later, Wudong took his luggage and hid in the shadows, and left Baikan overnight while everyone was immersed in the joy of Shenwu Hulin's achievement. To an unknown place. Juji Dynasty. Royal Palace. The young Emperor Juji was furious. Shantian, where did Baikan come from? Another Shantian. I'm obviously going to unify the 7 kingdoms and make an unparalleled contribution. They're all trash. How dare you swear to me that you can achieve hegemony and unify the 7 countries? The young emperor was always angry and eager for success. He was furious in the palace at the moment. In a fit of anger, he killed several palace maids and eunuchs around him, causing no one to dare to approach him. At this time, in the empty bedroom, the sound of gentle footsteps sounded. What? From what I hear, His Majesty the Emperor, is he blaming me for my failure in doing things? The mysterious black-robed man stepped into the palace silently. Emperor Juji saw the man in black robe coming, and the fire in his heart became even stronger. HMPH, you came just in time. Didn't you say that Baikan has been completely controlled by your poison? Where did this Shinwaho come from? I need an explanation. Explain. Ha ha ha. The man in black robe laughed. Little Emperor, you seem to have made a mistake. Be bold. Emperor Juji was about to be furious. Suddenly, the man in black robe slowly raised his head, revealing a pair of blood-red magic eyes. Aha! Two terrifying rays of divine light instantly shot out from the black-robed man's demonic eyes, and the terrifying innate pressure made Emperor Juji feel terrified. His pupils suddenly trembled. You are. Woo. The man in black robe stretched casually. Don't make such a fuss. Didn't you think of this kind of thing from the beginning? You are also an emperor, but you are far worse than the one named Peng Yang. People knew who I was at least from the beginning. Although, he's still stupid. He actually believes that this great innate man will help him restore his country. Tisk, thanks to him being so stupid, I was able to use the blood poison to sacrifice their entire wolf capital so smoothly. It's a pity that Baiken made such a move, but the Shenwu Marquis came out before it could be used. I am worried that something will change if it is too late, so I can only speed up all the processes. Now I don't even dare to get close to Baiken. My ultimate life I don't have much of such a good thing. Emperor Juji's face twitched. Wah, what do you mean? It means, the man in black robe appeared behind Emperor Juji. The terrifying bloody claws pinched Emperor Juji's head. You know too much. I won't ask any more. Boom. The man in black robe crushed Emperor Juji's head. The blood of Emperor Juji was instantly absorbed into the body of the man in black robe in a strange way. Feel sorry, but you have listened to what I said. Be more careful in your next life. Snap. On the dragon chair, only a dried corpse was left. The man in black robe kicked the mummy away, and then lay down comfortably on the dragon chair. In front of the true body state, he was submissive. In front of mortals, he punched hard. After lying down for a moment, the man in black robe suddenly changed his expression. He quickly knelt on the ground. A wisp of scarlet demonic energy suddenly rose from the black-robed man's body, condensing into a fleshless skull face. Honored Lord, I am working very hard to realize the revival of our holy religion, and I dare not slack off at all. Currently, my subordinates have completed the harvest plan of Hidden Sword Mountain and are about to head to Dunyi Sect's location. Skullface said, plans have changed. All my subordinates in the holy cult are staying put for the time being. They are hiding themselves and waiting for the opportunity. The man in black robe was puzzled. Could it be that the 9 sects of Qingyu have noticed it? The skull-faced man shook his head. This is a sudden order given to us by the leader. All you have to do is follow it. Leader. It turned out to be an order given by the leader himself. The man in black robe was shocked. He didn't dare to ask any more questions at the moment and kept saying yes. The Lord of the Holy Religion, the origin of the Holy Religion. The faith of the Holy Religion. A mysterious and unpredictable existence standing at the top of Qingyu. Although in the entire Holy Religion, except for the 4 guardians and the deputy leader, no one has ever seen him. But in the hearts of all believers, he is the absolute God. They don't need to question the orders given by God himself, they just need to follow them. Yes, Lord, I will obey the Lord's decree. The skull face dissipates. After the man in black robe glanced at the mummy on the ground, he turned into a wisp of demonic energy and disappeared into the Juji dynasty. Hidden Sword Mountain. Library. Lin Zi stood in front of the library in Zhangjian Mountain and was shocked for a moment. Because the library pavilion in Zhangjian Mountain is not a pavilion, but a mountain. Mountain of books. They hollowed out an entire mountain to make a library built on the mountain. How big the mountain is, how big the library is, and how high the mountain is, how high the library is. Compared with this mountain of books, the Baiken Imperial Library, the largest that Lin Zi had ever seen before, was just a younger brother. Tisk, otherwise how could it be an immortal sect? After sighing slightly, Lin Zi walked into this spacious and magnificent library holding the sword token. As far as the eye can see, neat and clean ancient books are neatly arranged. Restricted area, miscellaneous discussion area, mortal martial arts area, innate secrets area, Qingyu Fu area. Look up again. In the center of the empty mountain, suspended bookshelves and stone platforms float quietly in the air. Those stone platforms shrouded in mysterious innate light are fascinating. Lindsay couldn't help but feel excited when he saw it. There are several stone platforms. How much experience progress does this require? Plus so many other miscellaneous books. Raising your divine understanding to level 4 is just around the corner. Lindsay immediately jumped into the air and landed on the stone platforms that recorded Earth level skills. The first thing that caught his eye was a book called Zhongguang Shinju, an Earth level low grade technique. Zhangjian Mountain has established a sect for so many years, and has produced so many innate gods. In addition to the hidden sword art, created and handed down by Zhangjian himself, there are naturally other gifted innate gods who have gathered what they have learned to understand the world. And the created technique, although most of them are created by those who have just entered the innate realm of the One Yuan realm, they have entered the innate level after all, and have mysteries that cannot be achieved by the acquired ones. Together with the hidden sword Ju, they constitute the foundation of the entire hidden sword mountain as an immortal gate. These skills are placed on the stone platform in the air, with special restrictions and protections. Members of the Kangjian Mountain sect need to pass the immortal sect assessment and tasks to accumulate the sect's contribution in exchange for them. However, Lindsay holds the token of the hidden sword and has the highest authority in the entire hidden sword mountain. Naturally, he does not need to be restricted by the sect's contribution requirements. Lindsay can now choose all the Earth-level techniques at his will. Pick up Zhongguang Shinju. After flipping through 2 pages, the flow of information with God-level understanding flashed by instantly. You read, Shuangguang Heart Ju. Zhongguang Shinju LV10, Zochin. God-level understanding LV3, 105 1,000ths. Picked up another book, 9 Changes in the Sky. You have read 9 Changes in the Sky. Lindsay was immersed in the innate sea of books. After some searching and understanding, Lindsay read through all the prefecture-level exercises, including Hidden Sword Mountain Special Skill, Hidden Sword Art. A lot in total, a total of 11 books. They are all low-grade prefecture-level ones, providing Lindsay with a full 220 points of progress. Lindsay's God-level understanding has arrived, 305 1,000ths. The total progress provided by these 11 skills is already twice as much as the total progress Lindsay pieced together in Baikan. The world of innate gods and men is truly otherworldly. After sighing with emotion, Lindsay's eyes fell on the bookshelves in the air. What are they? First interpretation of Cave Heaven, Blessed Land Spirit Talisman, Secret Realm Yin-Yang Technique, 5 Elements Secret Technique. Innate knowledge similar to First interpretation of Restrictions. Lindsay picked up a few books and started a new round of raids. From day to night, and from night to day. Soon, the whole day passed like this. At noon the next day, Lindsay finally finished browsing this huge mountain of books. All the knowledge in the mountain was finally absorbed by Lindsay. And the upgrade progress this entire mountain of books has brought to Lindsay is also amazing. God-level understanding LV3, 851 thousandths. The progress of the talent has suddenly reached 850, and only the last 150 is left to upgrade again to LV4. And from this 150, minus the 100 points from the record of the 7 stars of the fantasy moon, there is only the final 50 points. There is still more than a month left before the trial of the Immortal Fate Order starts. In this more than a month, Lindsay can get this mere 50 points just by scraping together. This trip to Zhangjian Mountain was a great harvest. Taking this, Lindsay couldn't help but think of the 9 sects of Qingyu, the giant sects that stood at the top of Qingyu. Even Hidden Sword Mountain, which only has the first step of the true physique realm, has given Lindsay all he can eat. How rich should the 9 sects of Qingyu be? I'm afraid I have to give away LV5. Lindsay has more expectations for the upcoming 9 sects of Qingyu. Put down the book in your hand. Lindsay was not in a hurry to leave. He found a corner in the mountain of books and sat down cross-legged. God-level understanding level 3 activated. This one-time training has accommodated so many skills, including 11 low-level Earth-level skills. Lindsay had to do some fusion and smelting, trying to use these 11 low-level Earth-level skills as the core, and then smelt a few middle-level Earth-level skills. After all, his current state of cultivation does not match the level of his skills at all. In addition to a prefecture-level mid-level, Saint-Burning Demon Art, there is only a prefecture-level low-level, 8 Wastelands Heart-Killing Art, that can be mastered. Other techniques are still at the acquired level of the human level, and they are completely incompetent among these innate monsters who live for tens of thousands of years. You observe the world and feel it, and you have new ideas about the exercises you have learned. You have integrated the mental methods you have learned. The heart method is mainly based on the 8 Desolations heart-killing technique, with a total of 1367 auxiliary materials. Bawang heart-killing art has achieved a level breakthrough. You have comprehended the earth-level mid-level skill, the record of the fall of the wilderness. You observe the world and feel it, and you have new ideas about the exercises you have learned. You have integrated the movements you have learned. The body technique is based on Jingkong 9 transformations, with a total of 1425 auxiliary materials. Jingkong 9 transformations achieved a level breakthrough. You have understood the prefecture level mid-level skill, Du Jinghong. In silence, Lin Zi has once again refined and integrated everything he has learned. What he had learned finally achieved a qualitative transformation and leap, and he was promoted to the innate level one after another. Today Lin Zi's main skills are as follows. Mental technique. Earth level mid-level, Great Desolate Meteorite record LV10. Body refining method. Earth level mid-level, Burning Saint True Demon skill LV10. Movement skills. Earth level mid-level, Du Jinghong LV10. Swordsmanship. Earth level mid-level, Hidden Sword Hidden Light LV10. Boxing technique. Earth level low grade, Jingtao Jidao Fist LV10. Pupil technique. Earth level low grade, Phantom Heart Demon Pupil LV10. The advancement he had learned finally allowed Lin Zi's realm to match his martial arts, and he once again became a hexagonal warrior who could resist and fight. At this time, Lin Zi was the only one among the prodigies in the entire Qing territory who had reached the 3rd step of the true physique realm with energy and blood like a dragon. The future Qingyu 9 sect Dao Tribulation Mountain trial should be stable. After letting out a long breath of turbid air in his chest, Lin Zi's spiritual temperament improved to another level after another transformation and sublimation. The light of the stars in his eyes condensed into a sea of stars, so brilliant that it was extremely bright. And under this extreme light, the mysteries of the entire universe are evolving within it, interpreting the mystery of the Great Road. The magical power that looks like a god but not a god, looks like a demon but not a devil is accumulated in his body. Once someone touches its reverse scale, they will see the peerless power brewed under the bright light of this avenue. He stepped out of the book collection mountain in one step and returned to the Kangjian Palace. At this time, Zhang Jian was still breaking through with his eyes closed, comprehending the mystery of blood as bright as the sun. The energy and blood all over his body are condensed, sometimes floating, sometimes sinking, sometimes transforming into the image of the sun, sometimes dispersing like smoke and clouds. It looked like he wouldn't wake up for a while. Seeing this, Lin Zi left Hidden Sword Mountain. After a sweep of the book collection mountain, Lin Zi also understood what he should know about this innate world, and there was no need to stay in the book collection mountain any longer. Why not go back and visit the Lin family again, and spend some time with Grandpa and the others? In a flash of thought, Lin Zi stepped out of Hidden Sword Mountain. Returned to Baikan Dynasty, the next few days. Zhangjian Mountain scanned the entire territory and inquired about secret intelligence from various countries, but could not find any trace of anyone from the demon cult for several days. The man from the demon sect seemed to have left Hidden Sword Mountain silently early in the morning and was no longer seen. Therefore, after leaving a few disciples to temporarily stay in the human world and continue to monitor the movements of various countries, the disciples of Zhangjian Mountain returned to the mountain to report the information they had found. And the two main culprits this intelligence ultimately pointed to: a young Juji emperor, and Peng Yang, who is eager to restore the country. One of them was sucked into a mummy, and the other lost his entire wolf. Naturally, there is no way to pursue it. In the end, Hidden Sword Mountain could only give the Juji dynasty some small punishment, which could be considered an end to the demonic sect's interference incident. As for Langdu and Peng Yang, there will never be a wolf city again. The former Wuan dynasty will eventually be completely submerged in the dust of history and will no longer be remembered. At this point, the demon sect incident in Hidden Sword Mountain seems to have come to an end. Baikan and other countries have finally returned to the right track with the disappearance of the influence of the demonic cult, and they no longer seem so turbulent. After Zhang Feng went to warn the Wagwang realm sects, they became vigilant one by one after learning about the incident in Zhangjian Mountain. They checked the areas where their sects were located to be on guard against the conspiracy of people in the demon sect. But for several days, there was no abnormality in the entire Wagwang realm. The demon sect's appearance in Hidden Sword Mountain seems to be just the remnant of the old struggle, disappearing overnight like an epiphyllum. The Wagwang realm has returned to its former tranquility with the disappearance of the demon cult. This day, Baikan Palace. Emperor Baikan sent away the envoy from Kangjian Mountain. Master Immortal, walk slowly. The envoy from Hidden Sword Mountain smiled and said, I am just an acquired peak, how can I be worthy of the title of Immortal Master? Your Majesty, please don't say it again. If your fellow disciples hear it, it will make everyone laugh. At this point, the envoy from Kangjian Mountain said, the purpose of this trip has been accomplished. It's time for me to return to the mountain and resume my life. Your Majesty Baikan, I'll see you again someday. As he said that, the envoy from Zhangjian Mountain glanced in the direction of the Lin family with meaning. After that, he left Baikan Palace with a meaningful smile. Watch the envoy from Hidden Sword Mountain leave. Baikan Emperor Chuer sighed quietly. After hearing this, Eunuch Guang hurriedly stepped forward. Your Majesty, Zhangjian Mountain wants to recognize our Baikan as the orthodox one and rule the eastern region. This is a great thing. Emperor Baikan's expression became extremely incomprehensible. Why do you think Hidden Sword Mountain did this? Eunuch Guang said quickly, I understand. It's just, no matter where Lord Shenwu is or what his status is, he is your grandson after all. With a grandson like this, Your Majesty, you can sit back and relax and enjoy happiness forever. My servant congratulates Your Majesty. Congratulations to Your Majesty. Emperor Baikan stopped Eunuch Guang. You don't understand. Emperor Baikan sighed. It is not that there have never been innate gods in the human world. For example, the Zhenggu kingdom in the southern region had an innate god in their direct royal family. But even so, the Zhenggu kingdom in the southern territory has not received the orthodox recognition of Zhangjian Mountain. How can Zhenggu state unify the southern territory on behalf of Zhangjian Mountain? But now, I, Baikan, have obtained it. And the innate achiever is not my orthodox direct descendant. Tell me, what does this mean? Eunuch Guang was stunned. Having said that, Zhangjian Mountain's move this time seems to have gone too far. Eunuch Guang thought for a while. At this time, Emperor Baikan suddenly said, Shao Guangzi, prepare a decree. According to the order, Eunuch Guang immediately came out of his deep thoughts to formulate the purpose. Emperor Baikan said, he wrote, quote. Halfway through writing, Eunuch Guang suddenly realized something. Can an ordinary innate make such a move as to summon a bloody dragon? It seems that none of those people have ever happened in history. At this moment, Emperor Baikan said something that made Eunuch Guang stunned for a long time. Quote. Shao Guangzi, have you written it down? Quote. Hiss. Eunuch Guang thought about it carefully and understood something instantly. He immediately wrote 3 words on the imperial edict. King Shenwu, in front of the transcendent and special unique existence of the innate god man. Baikan, who has never been crowned king, is finally crowned king. As for this transcendent Shenwu king, besides Lin Zi, of course there will be no other one. After Guang Gonggong wrote the imperial edict, then he went to announce the decree in a daze. Came back in a daze. After that, Lin Zi was crowned king. Title, Shenwu King. The throne is hereditary, but this did not cause much trouble in the Lin family. The human king and the innate god man are already 2 different worlds. Emperor Baikan's title of king only caused some craze among the people of Baikan. The craze is over. The world is back on track. This year, winter in Baikan is still coming. It wraps the world in silver as it did in the past, freezing the sleep of all things. Time flies. It's the first snowy day of the year again. Light snow fell in the sky. The snow is not heavy, but a few glistening flakes fall occasionally, bit by bit, like fireworks falling from the fairyland in the sky. They landed on the bare trees. There was a thin layer of frost on the trees. Occasionally, a biting cold wind blows, unable to move the branches, and then blows against the Lin family's courtyard wall, making a whistling sound. Lin Zi was sitting in the Lin family's private courtyard, cooking a pot of tea and listening to the wind and snow. Ever since the demon sect disappeared and he manifested himself in the Hidden Sword Mountain, the days have become dull day by day. No one would provoke a family of innate gods, and there would no longer be so many conspiracies and tricks falling on the Lin family. Emperor Baiken also praised the Lin family so highly that no one was allowed to blaspheme it. After the surrounding countries heard about the existence of Lin Zi, the Shenwu king of Baiken, they all surrendered to Baiken and handed over their imperial power without the will of Hidden Sword Mountain or the fireworks of war. The eastern region is unified. The Lin family's status in the eastern region has also changed from the little king of Baiken to the overlord of the entire eastern region of Hidden Sword Mountain. Attract all countries to come to court. All nations come to meet you. They heard that Lin Zi, the Shenwu king, liked to collect and refer to the world's martial arts. So while he was still in the human world, he brought his own skills to offer, hoping to make good friends with the Lin family. It would be great if he could get some innate teachings from Lin Zi, a living god. Lin Zi also accepted them all. He never had too many skills, he was always in short supply. But he didn't get it for nothing. For no reason, Lin Zi didn't want to receive any favor from others, let alone owe it to others. In this world, everything is easy to repay, but human kindness is hard to repay. So when they came to send the exercises, Lin Zi just regarded them as a transaction. Whether he bought them with spiritual crystals or exchanged them for the exercises, the matter was settled on the same day. It is worth mentioning that because Lin Zi had already visited the world's collection of books in this area at Kangjian Mountain, 7 out of 10 books they sent over were duplicates. Many people have no chance to get started and return with regrets. This situation lasted for several days. Only then did it slowly return to normalcy. Afterwards, the Lin family practiced the 3 top human-level skills passed down by Lin Zi in their peaceful days, and prospered. Nothing happened. Lin Ao had handed over all the affairs of the Lin family to Lin Zi 10 days ago and went to retreat to practice in order to break through the innate realm. As for whether it can be broken through, then it depends on God's will. The path to innateness is the evolution of life, the transformation of a carp jumping over the dragon's gate. This step is too difficult. Hidden Sword Mountain has collected all the talented beginners from more than 20 countries around it. Each generation is carefully selected among tens of billions of people, selecting the best among the best, and cultivating them according to the immortal method. After 30,000 years, only 300 innates have emerged. Whether Lin Ao can be next is hard to say. But Lin Zi is not in a hurry, the Lin family still has a long way to go. Drink a cup of tea. Xiao Kui's voice came to my ears. Master, Yi Shaoran from Shira Villa wants to see you. Xiao Kui originally liked to be called Marquis Lins or Prince. But then I thought about it, why would the young master be called a prince when he is already a god? Doesn't that lower the young master's status? After much deliberation, Xiao Kui still thought it was appropriate to call him young master. Yi Shaoran. Lin Zi remembered that he had indeed asked Yi Shaoran to check on the Lu family before. But now he has learned about the origins of the fire worship demon sect and the true fire holy demon art from Hidden Sword. Yi Shaoran. Forget it, let's listen to it, maybe you can know where Lu Chengfeng got the record of the 7 stars of the fantasy moon. Let him in. Yes. Not long after, Yi Shaoran, a lone wolf hiding in the shadows, appeared behind Lin Zi. Yi Shaoran has met second young master Lin. Congratulations to the second young master for being promoted to the realm of innate gods. You're a little late. Second young master Qi, the information about Lu Chengfeng and the previous head of the Lu family is too old, and it also involves the Juji dynasty. It took us a long time to find out something. Say it. Yi Shaoran immediately submitted a confidential letter. Lin Zi took the secret letter and took a few glances at it. After many investigations in our villa, we found that Lu Chengfeng was also a well-known genius in the Lu family's old land more than 170 years ago. At the age of 29, he has already broken through to the 6th level of the acquired realm, and his medical skills have reached the level of a first-level medical officer in the Juji Tai department. Everyone in the local area thinks that a peerless famous doctor is about to appear in the Lu family, and there is even hope that a medical immortal who is in the innate divine realm will appear. But that reputation didn't last long. About 30 years old, Lu Chengfeng left the Juji dynasty. Since then, he has traveled around the world and rarely returned to the Lu family. The reason is said to be that it took too long for Kangjian Mountain to recruit disciples next time. Lu Chengfeng couldn't wait, so he left the Kangjian Mountain area and went to the realm of Dunyi sect and Wenxin Dao sect to seek immortality. There is also a theory that Lu Chengfeng thought that he could no longer improve his medical skills by staying in the Lu family, so he traveled around the world, practicing medicine and honing his medical skills and cultivation. Anyway, after that, Lu Chengfeng disappeared from people's sight and concealed his existence. It wasn't until he was 90 years old, that is, exactly 110 years ago, that Lu Chengfeng finally ended his travels and stayed in the Lu family for a few more days. During these times, Lu Chengfeng has been persuading the previous head of the family, Lu Hong, to believe in an immortal sect called the Holy Religion. Lu Hong did not agree, and was even very opposed to that holy religion. As for the name of that holy religion, Yi Shaoran got a little creepy when he said this. He said with a slightly cold voice, "Those who know about this have obviously heard the name of that holy religion before, but everyone has forgotten it. Even if they think about it again, they can't remember any information about the holy religion. They only have the word, holy religion, in their minds." Quote, "Obviously, there is a mysterious force behind this that affects everyone and distorts the truth of the past." After saying that, Yi Shaoran's eyes flashed again, like a lone wolf screaming at the moon in the dark night who opened his eyes. But even so, our Shira Villa has fulfilled its mission and dug out some secrets from it. Oh, a mortal force in Shira Villa still has this kind of ability. Lin Zi glanced at Yi Shaoran in surprise. Just listen to Yi Shaoran say, "We dug Lu Hong's grave." Lin Zi, from the information we received, Lu Hong obviously knew the details of the holy religion from the beginning, and he strongly opposed Lu Chengfeng's contact with the holy religion. For this reason, he argued with Lu Chengfeng many times. And not long after Lu Chengfeng completely left the Lu family and disappeared, Lu Hongtang, an acquired 8th level master, suddenly died inexplicably. Yi dares to conclude that Lu Hong definitely knows something inside. So I pried open his tomb, and sure enough I found clues. In Lu Hong's tomb, we found a special blood silk, which was hidden in the flesh and blood of Lu Hong's chest. It wasn't until Lu Hong's death, when his flesh and blood rotted and turned into white bones, that the bloody silk finally saw the light of day again. With that said, Yi Shaoran took out something tightly wrapped from his arms. Open the layers of packages. Blood red all over. Inside was the bloody silk. The blood silk was filled with densely packed small characters. Yi Shaoran said, "It contains the information of that holy religion." "Second young master, please take a look." Lin Zi opened the blood silk and looked at it. The content written on it was similar to the information about the fire worship demon cult that Lin Zi learned from Zhangjian. But it has a warning at the end that has no beginning or end. "Be careful of the 10,000 Things Tianqian sect. All Things Tianqian sect. This 10,000 Things Tianqian sect is no longer a small sect." Lin Zi had seen information about the Tianqian sect of all things in the library in Zhangjian Mountain. The Wanwu Tianqian sect is the overlord of the Xuanwu realm, with a heritage of more than 700,000 years. The sect leader is the master of the Xuanwu realm and the number 1 innate monk in the Xuanwu realm. His cultivation has reached the peak of the 4th level of the innate divine sea realm, and he can be called a great monk in the entire Qing territory. He is powerful and has a lot of fame. In his sect, there are 2 supreme elders of the divine sea realm and 10 elders of the true body realm. It is the most famous and ranked great immortal sect in Qingyu. Ordinary people have no access to it at all. Moreover, there are millions of miles between Waguang realm and Xuanwu realm where Hidden Sword Mountain is located. How did Lu Hong, who was in the Hidden Sword Mountain of Waguang realm, learn of its existence? And you haven't even said that you should be careful about the 10,000 Things Tianqian sect. Baffling. This Lu Hong, even after he died, he still kept his secrets. Never mind. Lin Zi put away the blood silk scarf. He had said early on that he was not interested in the story of the Lu family and the demon cult. He just wants to know the origin of the technique. As for what the demonic cult is going to do, he has no control over it. As long as you don't mess with him or offend his interests, that's enough. After putting away the blood silk, Lin Zi looked at Yi Shaoran. "You did a good job. Are you interested in working for my Lin family? Yi Shaoran is reliable, smart and knows how to judge things carefully. You can rest assured to use this kind of person. Although Lin Zi has been promoted to Shantian and will go to the 9 sects of Qingyu in a few days, there are not many places where Yi Shaoran can be used. But you might as well keep it for now, it's just a matter of a few words. Maybe it will be useful in the future. When Yi Shaoran heard this, he immediately agreed without thinking. Being able to work with an 18-year-old innate god is something that many people can only dream of. 18-year-old Shantian, what's the future like? All I can say is that the future is bright. A ray of light. Any benefit that this kind of existence could slip away would be enough for Yi Shaoran and Shira Villa. It is a great honor for Yi to be able to work for second young Master Lin. Yi Shaoran, on behalf of the entire Shira Villa, pays homage to the Lord. Yi Shaoran bowed to Lin Zexing. Lin Zi nodded with satisfaction. Very good, get up. Thank you, Lord. Master Mo. Lin Zi called the old housekeeper Lin Mo. Master, this is Yi Shaoran, you should have heard of it. Lin Mo nodded to Yi Shaoran. Master Yi, I have long admired you. General Lin, nice to meet you. After the two met, Lin Zi said, Master Mo, from now on, Shira Villa will be under the control of the Lin family. You can make arrangements for it. Lin Mo didn't ask any more questions and nodded immediately. In the past, if a killer like Yi Shaoran wanted to join the Lin family, Lin Mo would at least give him advice and investigate thoroughly. But now Lin Zi is a noble innate god man. In front of him, mere mortals can't cross the chasm between immortals and mortals no matter how much they jump. Master Yi, come with me. There's Butler Lauren. After Yi Shaoran left, Lin Zi took a look at the record of the 7 stars of the fantasy moon, which was still being repaired. God level understanding LV3 905 1,000ths. There are still 7 days until the completion. 7 days. It's not far from God level comprehension level 4. Put down the record of the 7 stars of the phantom moon. Lin Zi continued to drink tea. Listen to the wind and snow. Another peaceful day. A few days later, Hidden Sword Mountain outside. A loud laugh resounded throughout the Hidden Sword Mountain. Ha ha ha. Fellow Taoist Hidden Sword, here comes the poor Taoist. Hearing this voice, the innate gods up and down Hidden Sword Mountain all showed uncomfortable Sima faces. This mean voice was so familiar to them. Except for the old fool next door who is Dunyi Zong Dunyi Dao, there will be no other person. This old fool took away Bai Shui, their 4th spiritual sword from Hidden Sword Mountain, last time he came here. The 4th spiritual sword, Bai Shui, was a magical weapon that their mountain master, Kangjian, had spent 4,000 years raising with red yang essence iron. He was not even willing to give it to the Kangjian sect members for use, so he asked Lao Zamao sneaked away secretly. They were so angry that they in Zhangjian Mountain had been arguing with the Dunyi sect for thousands of years, hurting each other. What does he want to do this time? Hidden Sword Palace. Zhangjian, who was comprehending the final secret of blood like the sun, woke up. A sharp sword energy flashed in his eyes instantly, and a shocking secret broke out. Boom! Countless sword energy descended on the entire world in an instant, stirring up the world. Raise your hand. Here comes the sword. Boom! Shocking! The earth shook. Whoosh! Zheng! The mountain of the Hidden Sword Palace, which stood proudly like the divine sword of heaven and earth, cracked, revealing its true form. It is a giant sword about 1,000 feet high. The flying snow fell on him, giving off a dazzling cold light. Its sword light seemed to be able to cut through the chaos of heaven and earth with one sword. Buzz! Following a crisp sword cry. This 1,000-foot giant sword instantly shrunk into a 3-foot green edge and fell into the hands of Zhang Jian. In an instant, one person and one sword merged into one, erupting with an unparalleled momentum of opening the heavenly gate with the sword. Zheng! The hidden sword shot through the air. This sword. Like the bright sun, it is unstoppable. This is the number 1 spiritual sword in Hidden Sword Mountain, Wangri. 8,000 years ago, the hidden sword relied on it to kill a group of demons with one sword, thus establishing the reputation of the Hidden Sword Mountain. Now, this sword appears again. Bloom its indestructible light. And in this light, an aura that has glimpsed the essence of the blood-like sun has been activated to the extreme. The bone-chilling sense of crisis instantly made the young Taoist's face tighten. The hidden sword has actually been able to defeat the secret of bleeding like the sun. This is broken, etc. Wait a minute, fellow Taoist. I am not here to fight. Zheng. Thousands of sword energy transformed into shapes. They turned into the shadows of countless hidden swords, blocking the escape from all directions. The sky is full of sharp edges. Give me back the snow. Repay it. I must pay it back. The escape man forced out a smile. Pindao is here to pay Bai Shui back this time. Wangri's sword edge was still pointing at the escape man. Quote. Here, fellow Taoist hidden sword, do you think you should put Wangri away first? Let's find a place to have a nice chat. Chat, what's there to talk about between you and me? Dunyi Lagu always visits the Three Treasures Hall for no reason. There must be a demon in Hidden Sword Mountain this time. Think again about what happened in Hidden Sword Mountain recently. In Zhang Jian's eyes, an inexplicable sword light flashed away. Could it be that Dunyi Lagu knew about the saint from Baikan? That's not right. If that's the case, he can go directly to Baikan to find that person. What are you doing here at my Hidden Sword Mountain? Dun Taoist looked around. This is not the place to talk. The hidden sword remains unmoved. It is helpless to escape a person. Then, 3 words passed directly into Zhang Jian's ears. Daoji Mountain. Daojia Mountain. The ancient place where the 9 sects of Qingyu were tested. It exists in the mysterious virtual world of Qingyu and has never been known to outsiders. Historically, only the holders of the immortal fate token of each generation could enter Daoji Mountain according to the guidance of the token. Dunyi Lagu suddenly mentioned Daoji Mountain today. Hidden Sword's eyes narrowed slightly. He glanced at the Dunyi people steadily, slowly put down the Wangri sword, stood Huangri upside down behind him, and led the Dunyi people towards the sect hall deep in the Hidden Sword Mountain. There was no one around in the sect's main hall. The figures of the 2 people slowly appeared. Zhang Jian then asked, what happened to Daoji Mountain? Dun Dao didn't give in. He said directly, on the 12th day of next month, this Daoji Mountain trial will begin. Quote. Zhang Jian was stunned for a moment. Then, he turned to look at Dun Yi, with a slightly solemn look in his eyes. Only the holder of the Immortal Fate Order knows when the Daoji Mountain trial will begin. How did you find out? 2 Taoists smiled and said, how did I know? Didn't you tell me everything? Quote. You have the Immortal Fate Order. The hidden sword moves the face. Although the legend of the Immortal Fate Order has always been spread in the vast Qingyu. But Qingyu is too big. The vast Qingyu territory is filled with thousands of races. There were originally a total of 4,981 realms. Although there are only 3,980 realms left now. But there are only 1,000 Immortal Fate tokens. Evenly divided, even one piece from one realm is not enough. The size of a realm and the number of people can be seen just by looking at the Wagwang realm where Hidden Sword Mountain is located. There are currently 49 large-scale sects recorded in Wagwang realm. 49 sects occupy the mountain as kings and manage various parts of Wagwang realm respectively. Zhangjian Mountain is one of the 49 sects, with 27 countries under its command and a population of tens of billions. How big should the 49 sects be? This does not include some poor places that no one wants. The Wagwang realm is so big and there are so many living beings that even trillions of them cannot stop it. The entire Qingyu area is even more innumerable. Divide 1,000 Immortal Fate tokens from such a huge base. That's even slimmer than finding a needle in a haystack. Those who can get the Immortal Fate Order are the most darlings and darlings created by the luck of this era. Therefore, many people have never seen the shadow of the Immortal Fate Order in their lives, and they dare not even expect its existence. In short, Zhang Jian has never thought about the Immortal Fate Order. Now, Dunyi Lagu actually got the Immortal Fate Order. Zhang Jian frowned and looked at Dun Yi for a long time. I was stunned, but I didn't see the slightest trace of the pride of the times and the darling of fate in Dun Yi. Don't look at it, it's not me who has the Immortal Fate Order. He's my disciple. Your disciple will tell you about the Immortal Fate Order. Isn't he afraid of you snatching it? Quote. Does Pindao look like that kind of person? You don't look like that, you do. You, forget it. Dun Dao shook his head and sighed helplessly. He has to tell Pindao. And Pindao has to come to you. What's the meaning? Dun Daoist stood up and walked a few steps in the sect's main hall, This time there are variables in the trial of the Immortal Fate Order. Variable. Do you still remember the half-saint from the Chang Sword Sect? Who doesn't remember the half-saint of the Chang Sword Sect? The power of the semi-saint sweeps across Qingyu. Why did Qingyu change from the original 4981 realm to the current 3980 realm? Isn't it because the semi-saint awakened and had a final showdown with the leader of the demon cult, destroying all the creatures from other realms? This hidden sword cannot be forgotten, nor can the entire Qing territory. Zhang Jian was about to say something. The next words from the Dun group made Zhang Jian stand up immediately. That half-saint is going to become immortal. Impossible. The half-saint already has the same lifespan as heaven. The heaven and earth are immortal, and the half-saint is immortal. How can he become an immortal? The Taoist master spread his hands. This is not what Pindao said, but what the half-saint said himself through the Immortal Fate Order. That demon sect's leader has taken part in creation. In that decisive battle that year, the half-saint suffered serious injuries. This injury has been with the half-saint for 8,000 years, and now it has reached the point where it can no longer hold on until it is exhausted. So the half-saint decided to find the strongest successor who has inherited the destiny of the Qingyu before he becomes immortal, and inherit his mantle. And the way he chooses his successor is this time's Immortal Fate Order Qingyu 9 Sects trial. Dun Taoist glanced at Zhangjian and said, so the significance of this time's trial of the 9 sects of Qingyu will be completely different from the past. In the past, we only selected those with good luck to join the 9 sects of Qingyu. But this time, it is of profound significance and can cause a sensation in the entire Qing territory. The selection of the successor to the half-saint. Zhang Jian was silent for a long time after hearing this. So what exactly is the content of the trial under the semi-saint cloth? You actually have to take the risk to tell me something as big as the Immortal Fate Order. The Taoist man sighed quietly. In the past trials of the Immortal Fate Order, the Immortal Fate Order took the initiative to pull the tester into the Daoji Mountain in the virtual world after the time was up, and then the trial began. And this time, the 9 sects of Qingyu have announced to the world that the half-saints have opened up a shadow of Daoji Mountain in each realm. As long as the Immortal Fate Order climbs the shadow of Daoji Mountain before the official trial begins, they can reach the real Dao. Rob the mountain. This time they clearly placed Daoji Mountain there. Anyone can see and hear it. This game has to add fuel to the fire. To escape one's worries, isn't the intention of the 9 sects of Qingyu this time to stir up battles throughout the territory and test everyone in the territory? Think about it, once this announcement comes out, all the sects in Wagwang will definitely be excited. They will guard the shadow of Daoji Mountain day and night to find out who holds the Immortal Fate Order and replace him. And those who possess the Immortal Fate Order must also go through the test of courage and wisdom, find a way to hide it from everyone, and step into the shadow of Daoji Mountain in full view of the public. The game between the two sides is like the largest cat and mouse game. The person who can get out of this cat and mouse game is the real winner in the end. And with their Dunyi sect strength, a person who can escape is only in the blood-like sun realm of the second stage of the real body. If he wants to go head-to-head with the sects in the Wagwang realm, he really can't afford it. So the Dunyi Zong thought about it, and he had to find someone he could trust to share the pressure of the Dunyi sect. And the strength of this person must be close to him. Because its strength is too weak, it is of little use. He was too strong and afraid that he would change his mind and snatch the Immortal Fate Order. Therefore, Hidden Sword has become the best candidate to escape a Taoist. As Zhangjian's old enemy, Dun Dao knows the character of Zhangjian very well. This guy was born with a clear sword body and a clear heart. He is the purest swordsman. 1 is 1, and 2 is 2. By cooperating with Zhangjian, Dun Yi will feel a lot more at ease. Secondly, the strength of the hidden sword as a natural sword body is obvious to all. Its attacks are unparalleled and its combat power is astonishing. Those sword strikes were as if they had ignored the body training techniques and the innate true body, making people feel uncomfortable all over. In the past, the Dundao people were able to hold down the hidden sword, which was all due to their realm advantage and long-term consumption. Only then could they be slightly better. So there is no need to worry about Zhang Jian's strength. At least in terms of opening the way and breaking through defenses in the end, Zhang Jian is definitely more professional than him. But what Dun Yi didn't expect was that Zhang Jian had almost realized the essence of blood like the sun. Gee, these people with innate physique and bloodline are so enviable that they can grit their teeth. Dun Taoist said so much, Zhang Jian also understood what he meant. He said calmly, don't you like Shu Shu Tuji the most? It's still a long time, you can think of a solution slowly. Tu Taoist said hurriedly, Pindao would like to take it slow, but he won't allow it in this situation. From the moment the 9 sects of Qingyu were announced to the world, the test of selecting the successor of the half-saint has already begun. In the entire Qingyu territory, the first person who truly arrives at Daoji Mountain will receive 1000 Daoji Qi, the second 999, the third, and so on, and the last 1000 people will only have a trace of Daoji Qi left. Son. The gap between you and others has widened so much. No matter how talented you are, no matter how high your understanding is, it will be difficult to catch up with this gap. Pindao estimates that there are already people on their way to the shadow of Daoji Mountain. We can't wait, so you came to me. Zhang Zhan looked at Dunyi sect quietly and said, have you forgotten something? I, Zhang Zhanshan, have a grudge against your Dunyi sect. It's just a small misunderstanding. Fellow hidden sword Taoist, there are no eternal enemies in this world, only eternal interests. Hey, what price can you offer? Tu Taoist said directly, Pindao is willing to let my disciple join your hidden sword sect and become our common disciple. A gentleman's promise is never false. Both the poor Taoist and he are willing to swear by Taoism. If he becomes the half-saint heir by then. Dun Dao started to draw a pie. You dare to think. Well, as long as he can enter the 9 sects of the Qing territory and become famous, he will teach us the profound skills and inheritance, and we can at least get a glimpse of the scenery of a great monk in the Divine Sea realm. This is much better than us being blind in the Wagwang realm and trying to figure out the elephant on our own. Quote. A man from Tudu persuaded me earnestly. Zhang Jian, you started from scratch, saved little by little, and spent more than 70,000 years of hard work to achieve what you are today. You should understand better than others that there is no inheritance and everything depends on your own hard work. To tell you the truth that you don't like, if you didn't have the inheritance in your body, with your talent of hiding the sword and the natural sword body, how could it take you 60,000 years to break through to the real body? Now the top inheritance opportunity of the 9 sects of Qingyu is right in front of you, are you willing to miss it? Zhang Jian was silent. His eyes flashed slightly and he tapped his fingers on the table. For a long time. Then he said, tell me about your apprentice. Tu Taoist was overjoyed. Hearing what Zhang Jian meant, the matter was already half done. But Zhang Jian added, but don't be too happy if your disciple doesn't meet my requirements. Then don't blame me for hiding my sword and grabbing it. When the time comes, let's forget all the old and new grudges. One of the Tudu people said hurriedly, don't worry about this. My disciple is very good, otherwise I wouldn't come to you in such a big way. After saying that, Taoist Dun began to introduce his disciple. I just say one thing and you will understand. My disciple is of the blood of the Red Spirit clan. He has just turned 1,200 years old this year, and his cultivation level is 1 innate. Upon hearing this, Hidden Sword's eyes opened slightly. Red Spirit clan. Good. There is nothing to say about the Hidden Sword. Among the major bloodlines, the Skilling clan bloodline is also a high-level bloodline that can be called a name. At least it was more than 1 level higher than his natural sword body. In terms of bloodline alone, being a disciple of a Taoist is worth investing in a hidden sword. What's more, he is still so young and it is time for him to make great progress. Zhang Zhan agreed. Give me time to prepare. That's it. The Dunyi sect man said, okay. It just so happens that Pindao has to go back and make arrangements for the Dunyi sect. You should be ready as soon as possible and come to the Dunyi sect to find Pindao. Let's set off immediately, try to get ahead of the 500, and get a good ranking for our disciple. The escape group left. Before leaving, he left one more sentence, by the way, Bai Shui has been given to your apprentice. As a master, you wouldn't be reluctant to give a handful of snow as a greeting gift to your new apprentice, right? Ha ha ha. Zhang Jian's face darkened. What a piece of shit. Zhang Feng. A sword light escaped from afar. Elder brother, give me the cold front. Hanfeng's sword, the second spiritual sword of Zhangjian Mountain, Zhangjian gave it to Zhangfeng to use. Ah, Hanfeng. Zhangfeng was stunned for a moment, a look of worry appeared on his face. Brother, is the old dog done here for a fight? Zhang Jian shook his head and said seriously, don't ask about this matter for now. I will be traveling far away in the next few months. Please keep an eye on Hidden Sword Mountain and be careful of other forces. Clear. Zhang Feng gave Han Feng to Zhang Jian. Hidden sword, take it into the body together with Wanbri, and hide the sword in your body. One is collected in the left hand and the other is collected in the right hand. After that, Zhang Jian went to the forbidden area of Zhanjiang in Zhangjian Mountain. There is the third spiritual sword of Hidden Sword Mountain, Ji Ming. Quote. Seeing this, Zhang Feng was very worried. What happened? Brother actually brought the top 3 spirit swords with him. With 3 swords hidden in his body, even the chaos of the demon cult back then was nothing more than that. Baikan Dynasty. Lin perceived the trial information coming from the Immortal Fate Order. Lin Zi raised his eyebrows slightly. The 9 sects of Qingyu had a great time this time. Causes fights across the land. Interesting. Then let's see who is more skilled. Putting away the Immortal Fate Order, Lin Zi picked up the record of the 7 stars of the Fantasy Moon again. 7 days have passed, and the Fantasy Moon 7 stars record has been completed. With its completion, Lin Zi's God level comprehension level 3 can finally be upgraded to level 4. You read the Fantasy Moon 7 stars record. With your terrifying understanding that is close to Taoism, the record of the 7 stars of the Fantasy Moon has been completely broken by you, and has been deduced to the 10th level. Huan Yu 7 stars record LV10, great perfection. You have mastered a local level mid-level technique, and you have a deeper understanding of the power of God level understanding. God level understanding LV3 1010 1000. You have read through the books and finally gained some understanding, gaining a more essential understanding of the talent of God level understanding. You have developed new abilities with God level understanding. God level understanding upgraded to LV4 1010 thousandths. From now on, you will gain the ability to complete the corresponding bloodline and physique according to the particularity of specific exercises. Complete the bloodline and physique according to the particularity of specific exercises. Doesn't this mean that if Lin Zi encounters any technique that cannot be practiced without a certain bloodline, he can practice it forcibly, and he can also get the physique and bloodline corresponding to this technique for free? This ability is amazing. No matter which world, bloodline and physique are always super and abnormal. Especially in a big world like Tianlin continent where there are thousands of races. Take a person named Hangguang clan as an example. People with the blood of Hangguang clan are making rapid progress in practicing various ice-based skills, far surpassing those in the same realm. Moreover, they can also release the aura of cold weather in their bodies during battle, constantly eroding the enemy with coldness, causing them to be frozen by ice, and their combat effectiveness plummets. In times of crisis, they can completely release the cold aura in their bodies, enter the ice state, condense ice armor to resist the opponent's attacks, and cause the opponent to be eroded by the cold, and their fighting spirit is sharply reduced. In terms of game understanding, damage reduction is increased by 30%, and the opponent's attack speed is reduced by 30%. It is indeed the SVIP treatment for RMB players. But fortunately, with God level comprehension level 4 in hand, Lin Zi only had to go somewhere to get a book of exercises with bloodline and physical limitations, so that he would have the opportunity to enjoy this kind of VIP enjoyment in heaven and earth in the future. At present, it is estimated to be hanging. There is no one with special blood and physique in Hidden Sword Mountain. If you really want to count, Zhang Jian's natural sword body can barely be counted as one. Unfortunately, he does not have a matching limited skill. Thinking like this, Lin Zi's state of mind also relaxed. With the arrival of Huan Yu 7 stars, a local mid-level skill, Lin Zi, who had already reached the 3rd stage of the true physique realm, had condensed his cultivation to the extreme, heading towards the half-step divine sea. In a daze, Lin Zi's consciousness had a flash of inspiration. In this ray of spiritual light, Lin Zi saw a sea of illusion. In this sea, there is a vast ebb and flow of human voices. There are sunsets and stars that remain unchanged forever. There are also vicissitudes of life that have reversed the gears of history. This sea is the human world. It's this vast world. It's the sea of heaven and earth. Lindsay wanted to float up and down in this sea of heaven and earth, find a way from the other side of the earth to the other side of the sky, and pursue his own bright heavenly essence. Under the guidance of Tian Yuan, you can understand the mystery of life, escape from the suffering of the world, open the door to heaven and earth, and lead to the other side of heaven. This is Shanghai, until I stood on the other side of the earth and saw this illusory sea of heaven and earth. Only then did Lindsay realize why there are people on earth, people on mountains, people on sea, and people in heaven in the innate world. In the Shantian realm, the practice of the three major lives of acquired, innate, and holy realms is jokingly called the climbing process of people constantly ascending from earth to heaven. Mortals the day after tomorrow have not gained the innate wonders and cannot leave the earth. They spend their whole lives looking up at the mountains on the ground, just for the people on the earth. But Shantian has already glimpsed the wonders of heaven and earth, broke away from the shackles of the earth, and climbed high mountains, trying to get closer to the unattainable sky. When these mortals go up the mountain, they become immortals and people on the mountain. But the people on the mountain discovered that there is no mountain in the world that can connect the sky and the earth, and go to the sky through the mountain. So there were sea people again. Since no mountain can reach the sky, then leave the mountain, cross the sea of heaven and earth, and keep flying to the sky. If a man on the sea goes ashore, ascends to heaven, and becomes a saint, then he will be the last man in heaven. It's really vivid. Climb half step into the divine sea. Lindsay stood up and looked at the fine snow in the sky. His eyes seemed to penetrate the sea of heaven and earth through the fine snow, and found the door leading to the other side of the sky. It only took Lindsay a month to go from an ordinary acquired third level to the current half-step divine sea. Then how long should it take Lindsay to take half a step from the divine sea to the holy realm known as the heavenly man? Not far away, Lindsay murmured to the sky. Then he looked away. Xiaokui, Master, my servant is here. Xiaokui walked in. Lindsay said, I'm going to take a long trip next. With Master Mo in charge of the Lin family, it should be fine. If Grandpa is out of isolation, just tell him that I have an appointment in 2 months, and he will understand. Xiaokui nodded. Oh, I understand. How long will you be leaving, young master? I will help you pack your belongings. No need, go ahead. By the way, while this young master is out, everyone in the Lin family should practice hard and don't slack off. Yes, go ahead. Xiaokui left. Lindsay flew into the air, left Baikan, and embarked on a journey to the shadow of Daoji Mountain. Lin's home. A beautiful figure looked at Lindsay's leaving back and was speechless for a long time. She looked at the sky for a long time. I don't know what I'm thinking about. After a long time, she returned to the room and left a series of light footprints on the snow. Wagwang Realm. The Tianyan Mountains are covered with deep clouds and fog. A huge mountain towering into the clouds, with an ancient and thick aura that seems to come from the ancient times, was located in it at some point. It sometimes exudes a mysterious aura of great avenues, in which countless creations and vitalities evolve, giving birth to the magic of heaven and earth. From time to time, it releases some extremely terrifying energy of destruction, and endless catastrophes erupt in the mountains. It is like the catastrophe of the Great Road, the annihilation of heaven and earth, and the annihilation of all phenomena. All creatures in the Tianyan Mountains are intimidated by this giant mountain. There is no sound everywhere, everything is still. I do not know how long it has been. Several figures seem to sense the mysterious aura of this giant mountain. They rushed into the Tianyan Mountains and landed in front of the giant mountain. Daoji Mountain. Daoji Mountain. My dear, I never thought that I would be lucky enough to see the legendary Daoji Mountain in Qingyu with my own eyes. It's worth it. Daoji Mountain. I heard that as long as you step into Daoji Mountain, you can become a disciple of the 9 sects of Qingyu. Let me try it. A casual cultivator just said this. Suddenly, a giant hand tore through the clouds and came towards him. Try. Could it be that, little friend, you have the immortal fate order with you? Let me borrow it for a look first. The casual cultivator's expression suddenly changed. Senior, I don't have the immortal fate order. I'm just curious about Daoji Shan. The big hand directly grabbed the casual cultivator in the palm of his hand, How dare you come to join in the fun without the immortal fate order? Snort. Boom. Blood flowers scattered and danced in the sky. What I hate most in my life are people like you who have no self-awareness. Waste time. He casually squeezed the casual cultivator to death, and after failing to find the existence of the immortal fate order, the giant palm was withdrawn into the clouds. The casual cultivators near the shadow of Daoji Mountain were all frightened when they saw this. They looked up at the high mountains and clouds around them. These immortal masters come so quickly. I am afraid that at this moment, the shadow of Daoji Mountain is already surrounded by wolves from all sides, waiting for the holder of the immortal fate token to come. A group of casual cultivators looked at each other, the expressions in their eyes constantly changing. They retreated to the outskirts of the mountain range, blocking the main roads, waiting for the arrival of the legendary destined person. A war without visible fireworks has begun. Deep in the Tianyan Mountains, there are towering mountains covered by thick fog. The major immortal sects sit high in the clouds. The blood-stained sword master's spiritual consciousness unfolded and included the entire 100,000-mile radius of the shadow of Daoji Mountain into his perception. Whenever someone with a suspicious appearance or a suspected holder of the immortal fate order enters within 100,000 miles of the Tianyan Mountain range, he will be able to sense it immediately. Just when the blood-stained sword master was seriously searching for the holder of the immortal fate token, an old man in white robes with white hair and a childlike face stepped on the cloud of void and landed in front of the bloodstained sword master. The person who can hold the immortal fate order is not a simple person. You can't find him like this. The bloodstained sword master opened his eyes and glanced at the old man with his blood-filled eyes. If you fart, let it go. The old man laughed and said, what I am saying is that if I were the holder of the immortal fate order, I would definitely disguise myself as a member of the Predator and do what a thief calls to catch a thief, in order to paralyze everyone. The bloodstained sword master's blood-stained eyes narrowed. Are you suspecting that I have obtained the immortal fate token? The old man smiled and said, I didn't say that. But since you mentioned it, I have to ask. I have never seen what the immortal fate token looks like in my life. If fellow bloodstained Taoist has the immortal fate token, you might as well take it out and lend it to me first. The corners of the bloodstained sword master's mouth curled up slightly, and a trace of murderous madness flashed in his eyes. Zheng, a peerless fierce sword exuding overwhelming demonic power floated next to the bloodstained sword master. The scabbard on his sword, which was sealed by countless blood-colored chains, slightly opened a gap, revealing the red and cold blade. An extremely terrifying killing atmosphere immediately appeared in the entire Tianyan mountain range. The blood-stained sword master stared at the old man closely and waved. I do have the order of immortal fate, and it is in my arms. Come here, I'll show it to you. A heavy look fell down. Between the sea of clouds, there is an evil spirit everywhere. Bloody cracks like cracks in the sky and earth instantly filled the entire sea of clouds. Kill. The crazy killing breath was overwhelming, filling the entire Tianyan mountain range. Everyone in the mountains looked shocked. Such a crazy bloody smell. In the entire Wagwang realm, except for the madman who is one of the 5 giants, the bloodstained sword master, there is no other person. The bloodstained sword master takes action. Could it be that the immortal order has appeared in this world? Everyone looked towards Yundian. But in the midst of this killing force that was like a raging wave, the old man with white hair and childish face remained expressionless, as motionless as a mountain. They are both one of the 5 giants in the Wagwang realm, and they are both half-step monks in the Divine Sea. Who will be afraid of whom? I'm just asking casually. Brother Bloodstain is so irritable. Could it be that I got it right? Ah! The bloodstained sword master's big hand grasped the hilt of the fierce sword beside him. The chain on the sword's hilt is crumbling, and it seems that it will break at the next moment, freeing this peerless and vicious sword. You'll know when you try it. The old man squinted his eyes and looked at the bloodstained sword master carefully. At this time, there was a slightly charming voice coming from the other side. You two, now is not the time for us to fight each other. If you guys get into a fight, the real holder of the immortal fate order will probably take advantage of the chaos and escape. Above the clouds, a woman with scantily clad long hair and a graceful figure stepped on the clouds and walked barefoot in the void. His whole body is filled with lust and charm, every inch of skin, every piece of flesh and blood, and every bone exudes unrivaled charm. The whole person is like the incarnation of the goddess of desire walking in the world, able to arouse the most primitive impulse in everyone's heart. When he saw the woman coming, the old man had a hint of fear in his eyes. Even the blood-stained sword master, known as a madman, unconsciously tightened the sword in his hand when he saw her. The old man said with a smile, "What kind of wind blows you, fairy Miaoyu?" Miaoyu is also one of the 5 giants of Wagwang. But her heavenly desire heart sutra, not to mention the bloodstained sword master and the old man, is also the head of the Wagwang 5 giants, the Wagwang realm master of the divine sea realm. Moreover, the origin of wonderful desire is mysterious, its methods are unpredictable, and it is often absent from the Wagwang realm, appearing and disappearing all year round. There seems to be a transcendent background far above the brilliance, which people cannot see through and dare not provoke. Miao Yu glanced at the old man, and without any effort, there was a natural charm that shamed time and amazed youth. How could I miss such a big event for a half-saint to choose an heir? I would like to see which of the lucky children in our Wagwang realm has obtained the immortal fate order. I'm afraid the fairy's trip was in vain. The old man stroked his gray beard and said with a smile, "There are only 1,000 immortal fate tokens, but Qingyu has 3,980 realms. We have to compete with other prosperous realms blessed by Qingyu's luck for this spot. I'm afraid that I, in the Wagwang realm, don't have this blessing. Fellow Taoist Tianji, are you chasing me away?" The old man Tianji, who had white hair and a childish face, laughed loudly, "How dare you? I'm afraid that it will delay the fairy's wonderful time. There's nothing going on, so just watch the fun. Look, there's another fight down there." The two of them looked at each other with lustful eyes. I saw a fight among the casual cultivators at the foot of the mountain. The reason is that they suspect that the other party has the immortal fate order. This is the case in Tianyan mountain range right now. Anyone in this mountain may hold the immortal fate order. A battle may break out at any time. And at this time, outside the Tianyan mountains, Zhangjian and Dunyi have already arrived at the outskirts of the Tianyan mountains with their apprentice Luo Wuchen. From a distance, Zhangjian and the two could sense the shadows and crises lurking in the Tianyan mountains. Taoist Dun glanced at Zhangjian and said, "Here, the test really begins. Whether we can hide it from them depends on our luck." Zhangjian nodded, and the brilliant sun and cold front hidden in his hands were ready to go. The silence inside the body also exudes the aura of defeat and destruction. Let's go with the original plan and look for opportunities for others to cause riots first. If that doesn't work, I will show up and use a fake immortal fate order to attract everyone's attention, and you can take the opportunity to lead Wuchen into Daoji Mountain. Dun Yi nodded. According to circumstances, it all depends on God's will. At this time, Luo Wuchen said worriedly, "Two masters, even if this method is successful, what will you two do?" Zhangjian and Dunyi smiled happily, "Don't worry. As long as you can enter Daoji Mountain, your sword master and I will be absolutely safe. There are no eternal enemies in this world, only eternal interests. The people above are all old foxes who have practiced for tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years. How could they not understand this truth? As long as you enter Daoji Mountain, from that moment on, you will be a disciple of the 9 sects of the Qingyu sect, with such a behemoth as the 9th sect of the Qingyu sect behind you. In front of the transcendent 9 sects of Qingyu, even if the master of Wagwang realm comes, he has to kneel down and act like a dog. If they dare to touch me and your hidden sword master, then it's only because they don't want to live anymore and are willing to destroy their hundreds of thousands of years of cultivation and foundation. You, just go ahead and go." Luo Wuchen nodded. Wuchen understands. This trip will definitely live up to the expectations of the two masters. If they dare to touch a hair of the two masters, my disciple will use all his strength to ask an elder from the 9 sects to take action to destroy his Wagwang realm. Ha ha ha. You kid. Okay, if there are more, there will be plenty of opportunities to say it in the future. The Immortal Fate Order trial is the most important right now, so be prepared. After finishing speaking, the escape group was about to start their actions. Before leaving, two Taoists suddenly said, "By the way, once you leave, my master will no longer be with you. You must remember what my teacher told you." Luo Wuchen and Dun said at the same time. "There are no eternal enemies in this world, only eternal interests." Ha ha ha. Okay, just remember it. Old Jian, Do you have any other instructions? Quote. Old sword. Quote. Fellow hidden sword Taoist. The escape group was speechless. Zhang Jian was actually looking elsewhere and distracted. What are you looking at such a critical moment? Zhang Jian turned around. There was an unprecedented seriousness and solemnity in his eyes. I'm afraid our plans are about to change, he's here too. Him, who? Dun Dao was stunned for a moment, and his heart became condensed. He has never seen Zhang Jian look so serious and solemn. Who? Is this him? Zhang Jian said in a horrified tone, a person who may be the incarnation of a saint. Quote. Quote. As soon as these words came out, Dunyi and Luo Wuchen were stunned at the same time. The incarnation of the saint. Are you kidding me? The saint is a man in heaven, and the dragon has its head but not its tail. It cannot be seen, heard or seen by ordinary people, but it is the supreme holiness. Qingyu has not seen the shadow of the saint for almost 100 million years. Are you telling me now that there is an incarnation of a saint? Fellow Taoist, this joke is not funny at all. I'm not kidding. Zhang Jian said seriously. He pointed at the handsome young man in the sky who was facing the flying snow and flying across the void towards Daoji Mountain. He, Baiken Shenwu King, is in the third stage of his real body. This year. 18 years old. Quote. Quote. Dry. Dun Yiren and Luo Wuchen looked at Lin Zi in the sky and were silent for a long time. For a long time. Suddenly, Zhang Jian's body trembled, and a surge of sword intuition from his natural sword instinct filled his whole body. His sword trembled again, just like he sensed the crisis of the demon cult a few days ago. But unlike before, this tremor is not a crisis, but an opportunity. His sword instinct told him. Follow up. Quote. What? Zhang Jian repeated again, follow me. My sword instinct tells me to keep up with him. This may be Wuchen's only chance to sneak into Daoji Mountain. Two Taoists said directly, in that case. I believe you for once. Let's go. The two of them followed Lin Zi from a distance with Luo Wuchen, always alert to the surroundings and adapting to changes. At this time, Lin Zi was looking at the huge mountain that exuded a mysterious and ancient atmosphere. The immortal fate order in his arms became hot and hot, constantly echoing the shadow of Daoji Mountain, trying to open the door to the real Daoji Mountain. As the immortal fate order became hotter, Lin Zi kept getting closer to Daoji Mountain. In the Tianyan Mountains, shadows like poisonous snakes fell on Lin Zi. They lurked in the shadows, quietly watching Lin Zi in the sky approaching Daoji Mountain. Be ready to launch a fatal blow at any time. Here comes another. Single quote. How dare you approach Daoji Mountain? Does he have the immortal fate order on him? Single quote. Single quote, single quote. The top of Tianyan Mountain. The bloodstained sword master and others also set their sights on Lin Zi. Because he was the first person who did not restrain himself after arriving at Daoji Mountain, but instead dared to walk in so arrogantly. When something goes wrong, there must be a monster. Even if there are no demons, and they dare to approach Daoji Mountain, they would rather kill them than let them go. Young man, show off your talents. Old man Tianji leaned forward slightly, I don't know how to restrain myself at all. The bloodstained sword master glanced at old man Tianji, isn't it just what you want? As he spoke, the fierce sword floating next to the bloodstained sword master slightly emitted a bloody fierce light. But Miao Yu, who always liked to watch the excitement, was speechless at this time. She looked at Lin Zi quietly, with an unknown look in her eyes, and she didn't know what she was thinking. In everyone's different eyes, Lin Zi kept walking towards Daoji Mountain. Halfway through, he stopped when he was about to reach Daoji Mountain. At this time, the biting wind was blowing. The snow in the sky is floating gently. His figure remained motionless, slowly elongating in the wind and snow. What is he doing? There's something fishy. Quote. Many people stepped out of the shadows, staring straight at Lin Zi with wolf-like and snake-like eyes. Seeing this, Lin Zi's mouth curled up slightly. A simple token with fairy characters engraved on it, exuding a mysterious fairy light, rose from the palm of Lin Zi's hand and floated in his hand. I've kept you waiting for a long time. The immortal fate order is here. If you don't care about your life, come and get it. Lin Zi's cold yet unparalleled voice spread throughout the Tianyan Mountains. I suggest you all come together. Because, in Lin Zi's eyes, there was a bright starlight that was eager to conquer the world. Quote. I am in a hurry. Lin Zi finished speaking. Aha! Whoosh! Buzzing. For a time, the entire Tianyan mountain range shook. Like the 8 immortals crossing the sea, everyone showed off their magical powers. They all used their special skills and rushed towards the immortal fate token in Lin Zi's hand. Immortal fate order. Shuzi is arrogant. Bold young man, come and die. Quote. A variety of attacks, shadows hit Lin Zi at the same time. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.